Diddle-a-dum-dum, British Strongman podcast. So today we have the honour of having Dale Mcpherson on, aka 3D Strength, aka World's Strongest Chaver. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a fact, yeah.
Yeah. Right, so first of all, I'd like to say that I feel privileged to be speaking to both of you two guys, actually, because for me, like, you're both like massive inspirations to me as a lightweight, as somebody who's obsessed with strongman and getting better and competing in the sport and trying to push myself to get as good as I can, and coaching people who do and stuff. Like, you two guys, for me, being a similar body weight to me, like doing some of the lifts that you're doing is just fucking absolutely brilliant for me and really gives me fire. So what did you do the other day, the deadlift day? 382 for 2, is it?
Yeah, that was on plan to do that. But to be fair, beforehand, I've not maxed the deadlift in a long time, maybe a year or so. So that's my biggest deadlift today. It was 380 from the floor. So when I seen I had to do it for 2, I didn't really think about it because everyone's been going well. About 3 months ago, I'd done 360 for 3 without a suit, no belt, and a pair of straps. So I knew it was there. But so I've got 400 planned for next week. So that's got me into it spot on. Now I'm feeling I'm ready for that.
Was that raw, the 380?
The 380 wasn't raw. The 382 for 2 wasn't raw. The 360 for 3 about 3 months ago was. Okay. So that was the target. I always build a really strong raw base before I put my suit on. I'm a big believer in that sort of stuff because I generally do believe like raw power is the way forward, and like your suits, like your sleeves and things like that, it's just added extras you can have. You know what I mean? So and then like the next time I do like a build up again, I'll make sure I pull like the 380 for reps before I put a suit back on again. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you like try and hit what you got last time in the suit raw before you put the suit on.
Yeah, basically. So like a year after I pulled that like 360 for the 4 times body weight thing. And then, like a year on later, I pulled it for 3 without the suit on raw. Do you know what I mean? Up straps because I don't want my biceps to fall off. But yeah, so that's how I like to feel it because I used to max out a lot when I was younger. Whereas I'm 29 now and I can't fucking do it. You know what I mean? I fall to bits for weeks. So I found I've started adding more reps to my training regime. If I'm honest with you, so like I like rep PBs and stuff. Even if it is 2 or 3, I don't really care as long as some kind of progression's a lot of progression to me, even if it's 1 point whatever kilo each side of the bar, it's all progression. I like tiny little things that like I'm a little bit weird like that, but I'm not like a plate counter either. I can have like weird plates on. I don't really give a fuck. They don't have to be the same in that.
Yeah.
No, you deadlift, you got like fucking all these random plates on and they're 10 in the middle and all this shit. I'm like, you fucking tripping me out with your plate order.
Yeah, some people don't like that sort of stuff though, whereas I'm not bothered, I just shove it on. Whereas, like, for example, I take really big jumps when I deadlift. So, like, what did I do? I done 100, 200, 320.
Fucking hell. You're fucking mad.
Yeah, I don't just work up plate by plate when I deadlift. Like, I don't, right. I've never done it. I take big jumps.
I've never heard anyone do that before. So how many reps you do at, like, say 200 to 320, would you just do one set of 200 or?
Well, I do one set of just 2 reps normally, yeah.
And then you go 320, you're fucking mad.
Yeah, I do. That's how it's always worked for me. I remember when we first went into lockdown the first time round, I done like a 300 kilo deadlift challenge I done 32 days in total.
Fucking hell. Oh, yeah.
With no belt and all that sort of stuff. And that literally started off with me working the way up. I was getting that sore. I just went, some days I'd just come straight in, put 140 on, and I put 300 straight on afterwards as well. I just go straight in, no matter what happens. And then I just get it done. And then, to be fair, since I've just sort of stuck to it and it's been all right. But if it was squats, I'm the complete polar opposite. Can't do it. I have to go really slow on squats and things because, like, I'm naturally not a very good squatter. I can push some decent weight out, but I'm not a good squatter at all.
I can relate to that. It takes me ages to get my knees feeling like just doing bodyweight squats fucking hurts my knees, so I have to fucking take ages building up.
Oh mate, I wrap my knees after about 5 plates. Me, like, fuck that, I'm straight on with that. I don't like knee pain. Like, push press fucks me on, like, really bad. Like, if I do a heavy push press or a heavy log press or something, oh God, you're talking like 2 or 3 weeks I'll feel that. And it feels like someone's got hold of my knees and there's just loads of pressure in them and it hurts going down the stairs. That's what I mean about not going too heavy all the time. They've got a little bit older because these things last like, they've gone from lasting 2 days to 2 weeks. And I physically can't do it. So like I could be setting up for a deadlift and I can't squat down enough because my knees are hurting. Do you know what I mean? Or doing a yoke and my fucking knees are
relate to that massively. So you hit 175 log the other day, didn't you, with Stoltman's? That's a PB, isn't it?
That was. I was only meant to go in and do 120, but then they told me the log was 140 empty. So I was like, oh, this is fucking fun. And then my mate Lee Forbes was with us, and they just started laughing at me. I thought, all right, then you need to work.
But your connection's gone.
5 the week before, and I'll be honest with you, I had an absolute stinker. Mine has.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Down a little bit.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, right. All right. Yeah. I can hear you now. Yeah. What did you say you hit for 5?
Pardon?
What did you say you hit for 5 the week before?
On a log.
Yeah. No, he said he missed 175.
Oh, he missed 175. All right.
I missed 175 the week before. I just couldn't. I'm a bit weird, me. I've got a bit of a routine where, like, if I'm going to train at 12 o'clock and someone fucks me about and I'm fucked for an hour, my head goes a little bit funny. I'm quite routine when it comes to my own training schedule. Yeah. And, like, I don't like being thrown off. Like, I won't train past 3 o'clock because it's pointless. I'm a bit weird. I can't understand why. I'm just like it. I get anxious. So I just had a little bit of a stinker, if I'm honest with you. Nothing would go right. I couldn't. Do you know when you clean the log and you just can't get underneath it fast enough, and then all your air's fucked? You're gone. Yeah. That's what was happening. And I was going lightheaded. I was falling over. Whereas like the week beforehand, it was like a fucking piece of piss. And then a week later, I went up there and I just had a fucking blinder, if I'm honest with you. I think that was something to do with fucking, I don't know, training with like Luke and that, they just fucking get you going a bit, you know what I mean? And it's sometimes I like being took out my own environment and being made uncomfortable. I generally prefer, like, I think I perform better when I feel uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable, on the spot, that's it, on the spot.
Yeah. So you hit a good 175 yesterday, Shane. Fucking well impressed with that, mate.
Yeah, feel fucked today. I need about 3 weeks off now. Back's absolutely haggard. It's the clean for me, because when I strip log, I don't go on my tiptoes. I kind of clean like Dale does. I lean back a lot. And I've got to end in this bent position where I get
like incline
from. Yeah, that's how I do it. I get loads of power, and as the weight gets heavier, it pushes me back more. And every time I go up, it's like a new experience of like fucking back snap. So I wake up in the morning and like my lower back and traps, like I don't feel the press. It's weird. It's just the clean. If my clean goes all right, I feel like I'll press it. It's weird.
So what about one of those things, isn't it? You can build a lot of tension with it. I really feel like when you do a strict log, you can kind of pull it really on your chest, nice and tight, and then use like a big slingshot effect. It's weird. When I get it right, when I get it perfect, it feels faster off my chest than a push press. Yeah, I agree.
And I'm like, why is that fucking happening? So that's why I've stuck with it for a bit, because usually I peak me strict and then start using my legs. And I thought, well, usually I peak me strict and then add gear in and then peak me push. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep going with the strict this time, and that feels better for some reason. So, yeah.
I suppose Hicksy's a bit like that, though, isn't he? Like, his strict press is fucking mental. Do you know what I mean? What did he get? A 220 log strict press, wasn't it?
Yeah, but this is the thing. He's more consistent with his strict press as well. Like, in comps, he's chucked it behind his head when he uses his legs and all this. And when he stricts, he's much more stable. It's like he's almost similar weights, but more consistent strict. And I think at Europe's as well, when they were outside, everybody was struggling with the slippy floor and looking at the sky because it throws you off. But when you're strict, you're just planted, aren't you? It doesn't really matter what's going on around you. And I think that's why Hicksy, I think he was the only one to go over 200, I think.
He was, yeah. I think a lot of people go wrong with that, you know. Do you know, when when you compete outside, people forget to train push pressing and like overhead pressing outside, and it's completely different animal that pressing outside, completely and utterly different.
Yeah, if you train with a low ceiling height and you're used to looking at the ceiling, and then you've got the fucking sky, you just feel like you're going to fall over, don't you? It's. I remember my first log for reps outside, cleaning it, and it was something I should have been able to do like 10 at, but after I cleaned it, I was walking around for like 5 minutes, trying to get still, then pressing it, and then I was like, right, clean it. It took me about 3 reps to get my like proprioception right to be able to stand still, because I've never been.
Gash. It's absolutely gash. I hate it.
So a question for you both here while we're on this topic. So will we see 200 being broken, sub 100 body weight?
Yes.
Yeah, from you both. Do you think you both will do it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's class.
I think I'll do it, but I think I'll be on 100 key.
I personally think sub 100, I would say between 100 and 105. I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting at 101 today. I fluctuate between 100 and 103 the past 3 weeks. I've never been able to get over 100 kilo apart from the past month and hold it. But what I'll end up doing is I'll end up going up the way I'm at and then coming back down, getting leaner, and then putting a bit more tissue back on. So a solid 100 to 105, 100, 105, yes, 1,000,000%. This year, no. Next year, possibly, but within the next 2 years, yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I think I've said this to myself. I think I'm going to hit 180 this year, maybe 185, but then I'm sat at 95 in the morning, and I'm like 98 at night, and I think I'll need to do another block of training, try and put on some more size, and then maybe peak the log again, and I'll maybe get 190 or something. If no injuries and stuff as well, obviously, because that fucking adds time on, doesn't it? And then I'd have to do another block of adding weight. So I was thinking like next year 190, maybe the year after, pushing for it. But it's for me, it's the fucking clean. So I need to. I genuinely feel like I can press 190, 195. Strict. It feels fucking easy. Like, it's ridiculous. But I can't. Like, I failed. I tried 182 after the 175. Just couldn't clean it. So yeah, I need to work on that, but I'm not really sure. It's a hard one because it's just heavy. You know what I mean? It's not like I can do something to fix it. It's just I need to keep getting a bit stronger.
Log's one of those things, isn't it? I think body weight does help with the clean. There's absolutely no doubt about it, especially when you're holding it on your chest as well. I think having that little bit extra weight just gives you that little bit more trunk stability.
Yeah.
That tiny bit more. I tell you what, a lot of stuff I've been doing to work on this sort of stuff, it sounds fucking mental, right? I've been doing a lot of like single leg Romanians, single leg work, and really focusing on driving with my big toe planted in the floor. I just generally believe the more force you can put through your big toe from the center of your body, you stay a lot more planted. It sounds ridiculous, I know, and I'm sorry I'm talking a lot of shit.
No. I definitely agree.
But I generally believe if you've got that center point and everyone's dug into the floor and you're a lot more stable from the floor going upwards, these little tiny 1% are really making a difference.
Yeah.
And I generally do believe, I'm not big on this whole, right, I've just started training Barry for Bolton's Strongest Monster here. I know what I'm going to do. I'm making him do a load of bilateral transfer work, get him to go on a Swiss ball and do a log because it's going to help me with stabilisation. I'm not into all that shit. But I do generally believe when you start getting right up there with the top end weights on a world-class level, little tiny 1% make a massive difference to your overall lift.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's the thing where I was making a mistake for a couple of years with like overhead lifting, push pressing and stuff like that, cleaned. Like I was putting too much weight on my heels. So like if I go to like dip on a push press or anything, I was just immediately hinging and then losing the rack and then losing it forward. And then like in the last couple of years or something, I've really focused. I do that on like say my squats as well. I've like really worked on putting a bit more weight through the big toe rather than towards the heel. And then therefore where I'm dipping on my cleans and up my presses and stuff like that, Like I'm keeping the torso angle a lot more vertical, and the dip so much better, and I can use my calves better, I can use my quads better, rather than it just being like a fucking hinge, if you will. So like stuff
you're
like
right. I think what the thing is, I think a massive key for me lately is learning how to make everything work together. So I've always had a strong pair of legs. I've always had a really strong lower back. I've always had a really strong stomach. I've got strong shoulders, but sometimes I can just never put them all together.
Yeah.
But by doing a lot more like Bulgarian split squats, a lot more isometric work, a lot more core work, and really focusing on making my body start to shake and shit itself a little bit more and make everything get nice and tight and work together is really transferred over to everything. Do you know what I mean? It's like I was saying about those one little percentage of making everything like, I think the whole point, I always bang on about it, core training. And like, I don't mean standing there and doing a fucking Zumba class with a fucking stick on your back and twisting side to side. I generally mean putting yourself in a position, like a stress position, where you think, oh my fucking God, my arms are shaking, my legs are shaking, my stomach's starting to cramp up. Putting your body in these weird positions. You imagine going into a yoke and not being able to know how to brace properly. You're going to get fucking mauled, aren't you?
Yeah.
Definitely. So what does that do when you've got 180, 200 kilo on your chest and you try to press it? Do you know what I mean? You're just going to die. Do you know what I mean? Physically, the ground will eat you up.
I see you've been doing the hollow rocks, haven't you, with the plates and stuff. I do them. They're fucking
disgusting. I hate them.
What weight? Because I it makes me laugh because I do them with a 5 plate on my feet and on my hands, and I'm pretty certain I've seen you with like a fucking 20 or something. I was thinking,
yeah, I've done them for 20s, and it's fucking foul.
It, like fucking, he's off his head.
It's daft little things like ab and like lower back work. This might sound stupid. Like the other week, I done like a 322 good morning for reps, right?
I've seen it.
For some fucking reason, I don't know how, but I can. Do you know, like you said with the strict press, it feels so easy. I can literally put myself in a weird position on a good morning. Like in the last lockdown, I got up to like a 800-pound seated good morning for like 5 reps, dead start, right? And like I'd jump up and I'd go, how the fuck have you just done that? I just don't even understand. Like I honestly don't understand it. Do you know what it all boils down to? I think it's because I've squatted that long, like a good morning. My body just went, oh, dickhead's doing it again. Let's just make sure he's okay and he doesn't die. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot of beltless work as well. Like a lot of the stuff I've done is fucking beltless, and has been. I only started doing the beltless work because of the injuries I had in the past. And like I thought, how can I sort myself out? Because I used to always get a lot of IT joint problems, and a lot of that was stemming from a lot of grappling that I did. And I used to get really, really sore, like arse cheeks, and the left hand side on the back. I used to always get this really weird, like hip impingement, but it was actually my IT joint. And then, like, a physio I spoke to told me to start doing more beltless work, and then it just carried on and just went, I just stopped wearing it. And I wore one for deadlifts the other day, but what I've found is if I wear one in deadlifts, I've got to literally put it just underneath my rib cage on, like, one little hole so I can feel something to push against. It's actually not even, like, on as such. You can, like, put your fingers in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whereas an overhead press, I've literally got onto where I can't breathe.
Yeah. See, I like a tight belt. Me, I don't know on everything. I just fucking slam it on.
Well, I couldn't deadlift an SBD belt. If you paid me to, I'd spew up.
So, with your injuries and stuff, what's it been like since transitioning into the higher body weight? Have you been a bit more resilient to injuries?
I'm all right, thanks. I'll be honest with you. I find I'm a lot more spongy in the right areas, so my elbows and stuff feel great. My hips feel great. I feel like a fat bastard, but I feel like I can push off everything, but I'm not getting any, touch wood, I'm not getting any like really bad shoulder pains where I would, but that's where I used to take a lot of like Mastron and things like that to counteract, because obviously when you start taking different types of juice and things like that, I found Mastron was a really good masking agent for stuff like trenbolones and things, so I didn't get as many side effects. So I used to always have Mastron in there, and I ran Mastron for nearly 2 years. But the minute I've took that out, I've started putting weight on and I feel less stiff.
Yeah, that's why I'm 95, mate, because literally I was 100 kilos before I started this peak. Because when I'm not on mast, I put on 5 key, and it just fucking... that's one of the ways I lose weight, is that when I add in a compound like that, even though my diet, nothing changes, but my weight just comes down. I think it like sucks all the water out, and I don't know, it just makes me leaner as well. I don't know, it's weird.
Guaranteed. It's a brilliant controlled drug, I think, where you don't feel a lot of you don't get a lot of the psychological aspects of it. But I started using it when I was running higher trenbolones, and I found the Mastron really curbed the side effects of trenbolone, and I really liked it. But I'm completely off trenbolone now. I can't do it no more. I don't know what it is. I started getting to the point, even where I'd run like 200, 300 mg a week, I would literally think about things that much. I'd get in a mood before I'd even lifted something, and it was actually off-putting. Yeah. So now I've just literally jumped on the fence, and I'll be honest with you, at the moment, all I do is I run 600 milligram of test, 600 milligram of Deca, and I'll take a 25 mil of Dynabol, 25 mil of Oxys before I train at the moment, and Superdrol 10 milligram.
Because when
I've run Deca quite a lot.
Don't like Deca. A lot of people don't use Deca in the 90s because obviously most people in the 90s are 92, 93, and they get on Deca in the 96, so they can't make the weight. So I never used that until I kind of stopped doing the weight classes.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it gives me. I like to know I'm taking something, but I don't like my head to know what's happening. Like certain things are just way too strong for me, and like I'm a little bit unstable at the best of times with my moods, so never mind fucking putting that sort of stuff in. Fuck that, I couldn't handle it. So test and Deca for me is a very basic thing, which I really like. And like I don't get any problems with my knob, I don't get any problems mentally, and I feel just, sounds mental, I feel a bit normal. Yeah. And if I'm in a good frame of mind, my training's better as well. Like if I'm quite a happy, relaxed person to be around when I'm training. So I like to think if I can take things which contribute me as a person, I'm a better coach, I'm a better person to be around. But I take Trenbolone, I'm on a diet, and I'm an absolute arsehole. And I can honestly speak to you and say, look, I'm in a really bad mood today, so leave me alone.
I tell you what's bad for me, which is quite mild. Have you ever run EQ?
Hate it. Anxiety goes through the roof.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm like. I fucking funny as fuck. Well, it's not funny.
Tell you a funny story about equipoise, right? First time I took it, I used to always get like, do you know like those white spots you get in front of your eyes? Those little weird white spots if you hold your breath too long. My best mate Dan can stick up for me in this story. In my gym, I've got like a little area at the front, right? There's some farmers' walks behind me. I was doing pause deadlifts with 220 kilo, right? And I dropped it, and I turned round, and I remember waking up about 2 inches away from a pair of 60 kilo farmers with my nose on the floor, blood pissed everywhere. My nose was bent to the side, and Dan just went, mate, you've literally just turned round, blacked out, and it went from fucking stood still and just hit the deck and just passed out and smashed my face on the floor. Honestly, it sends my blood pressure through the fucking roof. And like, I will not touch it. I can't do it.
Yeah, for me, I'm like peeking out the fucking blinds and shit. Like I'll hear someone drive past and I'm like peeking out the blind. What the fuck's that? And then I'm like, why am I so sketchy? I was like, I need to come off this EQ. I've only ever ran it once. I've never ran it again because my head went west.
Did you get heart palpitations?
No, I just fucking no. It's just me. I think it was just my head. Just like couldn't fucking like didn't trust anything anybody said. Was like on edge, but for no reason.
I get these weird things where I'd go, like, I'd be like, I think I'm going to have a heart attack. And I'm, oh, no, it's just a murmur. You're okay. And I thought, well, what's that going to do for me in the long run? That is not good. So no, stop.
You know,
it's going to be mild.
EQ, like they say it's mild. And I'm like,
is it fuck? It's brutal.
That's like, it's fucking not.
you feel like a paranoid schizophrenic on it. It's fucking shocking.
Yeah, but some people don't know. If people don't know that's a side effect, they think it's just them, and they're like, "No, I'm on EQ. It's great." And people don't open up about this stuff, do they? They don't, unless you think it's the EQ. If you're having panic attacks, it's rare for men to go up to other friends and be like, "I'm having panic attacks. I'm really anxious." You know what I mean? Whereas for me, I was actually saying this to Shannon yesterday because I started taking Anadrol, and I did it for 2 days. And I started getting all these stomach. It's like my stomach was bubbling, and I was fucking shitting myself and being sick and stuff. And any normal human would be like, "Oh, I've got a stomach bug. You know, I'll stop eating, I'll starve myself." But because I take stuff, I instantly put it down to the gear every time anything happens. So I was like, I need to stop taking this Anadrol after 2 days. So I stopped taking it. and then obviously continued fucking shitting the sicking for 3 days. And then on Sunday felt a bit better. And then yesterday felt fine. And now Shannon's got the same bug. So it was definitely a stomach bug, but I put it down to the Anadrol. And that's the same with me on EQ is as soon as I started getting panic attacks, I was like, oh, it's the EQ. And I blamed that. But most people would just think.
So you're getting back on the Anadrol then, Shane?
Pardon?
Are you getting back on the Anadrol then or not?
Yeah. I'm going to do one. I've got one more week left of my cycle. Well, it was actually supposed to be this. I was supposed to finish my cycle this week, but I'm going to drag it out an extra week because I want to get that 180. Well, at least 180 I want to get before I come off. So I'm going to drag it out one more week.
May as well.
I don't like to blast too long. I'm not done a blast cycle in a long time. Mainly just because I've been so injured, there's been no point. But things are fucking feeling class. So I want to do one more week, and then I'm a bit sketchy on gear now because I've been using it a long time. I get like worried about my health, mate. I don't know if you ever get that.
Yeah. That's. Listen, I'm not gonna fucking lie to people. I've had times where like I've been up to like fucking 10 mil a week and that, thinking when you're younger, like. More is more is better. Trust me, if anyone's listening to this, more is not better. I always get people ask me questions like, what should I run? And you know what I say to them straight away? I go, do some research, look into things. This is what I do, and I would not recommend you follow the same as me because every single person is different. And do me a fucking favour, if you're doing in strength sports, do not just listen to bodybuilders, do not just listen to powerlifters. Look at people who you're talking to, see who they work with, see what they've done themselves, but you have to find out what works for you, not what works for your best friend, because that's not how it works. It's impossible. It's really hard to say everyone's the same because we're not. Because you don't know. Like, some guys can get away with running just like a gram of test a week and that's it. Do you know what I mean? They're absolutely fine in it and they feel great. Whereas some people go, I know lads who absolutely batter things and it's pointless. And some of them are like, it's not worth it. Do you know what I mean? And like the long-term health benefits, right? If you're having to batter 10 mil of Trenbolone a week to do a fucking novice competition, there's something severely wrong. Fucking hell, guys. Like, be smart, be fucking sensible. If you compete at the highest level and you take a little bit more than most people, that's totally fair. Totally get that. The risks and the benefits sort of go hand in hand. It's like ladies who do it or compete at the highest level possible. I fully understand it. But girls who compete at ladies who compete at a lower level and the battering a really, really, really high-end gear, and it's going to start changing the way they talk, the menstrual cycles, the chances of having the fertility problems. Like, you've got to like balance things out, I think, in this sport. I think too many people are too quick to jump on I've been training 6 weeks, what should I take bandwagon? You know what I mean?
We've talked about it quite a lot on here where we're just, you're kind of echoing what we're saying really, and where people are looking at gear as one of the first steps, as like an essential first step, when the training's shite, the sleep's shite, the nutrition's shite, they're just eating what they like, the hot and cold with the training, whether they're really on it.
I'll tell you what, I'd be a good one. I got asked this question when I shared a question box as to when, as a strongman, because a lot of people that talk about first cycles, it's usually related to bodybuilding online and powerlifting and stuff. And one of the questions I got asked is when should you consider a first cycle in strongman versus like bodybuilding and stuff? They say like put a good couple of years and make sure your diet's right and all this stuff. Whereas strongman, I think it's a little bit different. I don't know if you agree with the fact that you got to remember, peds can't teach you how to do stuff.
No, they fucking can't.
Yeah, and in strongman, you got to learn how to do 30 different fucking things. You know what I mean? Front carries, loading, log, axle. There's like, it takes years to even learn how to do it all. And I don't think you should even consider gear until you're at a point where you only care about your strength going up. Your technique's got a really good baseline, and then you can just try and build upon it.
Yeah, so Dale, kind of building on that kind of question, like what? Because Shane's answered this before, and it'd be interesting to see your take on it. What would you say to somebody who's committed to the sport long term that they're going to eventually take that step of taking gear, would you say to get to a certain level, natural, unenhanced, or would you say that it could actually be beneficial starting at like lower dose?
Right. So I'll put it from my personal experience with this. I first started on cycle when I was 70. I was 76 kilos. Right. I'd already been training 4 years. I'd already learned how to lift properly. I'd already competed a couple of times. I could bench press 160 kilo. I could deadlift 270, 280 kilo. I could squat 260 kilo. You've got to bear in mind, this is like a 76 kilo body weight. And I could also push press 130 kilo for 5 reps clean and press. And I was 76 kilo body weight then, right? So I knew there was something inside of me which could be half decent. Yeah. But I'd already done a few diets. I'd already started learning. I'd already started training people. And I'd already set my goals on being the best version possible I could be for myself.
Exactly. You'd already put so much to get to those numbers. You can't do.
Yeah.
You don't get to that by chance, do you? You've got to put a load of graft to get to those numbers anyway.
And like, I used to always be around people on that when it was literally like, so it was obviously like you got like regionals, you got England's, and then you got fucking Worlds and all this sort of stuff. I remember the first time I went to Worlds and I was against this fucking Norwegian dude, right? I can't remember his fucking name. I don't have a fucking clue, right? He was fucking massive. I'll have to send you the photo of him, right? I was 83 kilos, got to my first Worlds, and I'm just turned up and I went, oh my God, what the fuck is that? And I was thinking, what the fuck is that fucking big bastard there? I was thinking, you know, what the fuck am I going to do against him? And then I started going, right, you know how to train yourself, you're all right. I got my ass handed to me and I laughed about it and I thought, you know what? I was shit, but I deserve to be there. And I know in 4 or 5 years, I'll be good enough. I think as long as you know that training, nutrition, work rate, motivation when you can't be fucking arsed is there. And also, you can't just be motivated when you're on cycle. You've got to be motivated when you're off fucking cycle. You've got to be motivated all year round. You think when you go to the gym every fucking day and can be asked, oh my God, 50% of the time I can't be fucking chewed. I just think, oh, not this again. I'm going to fucking fall over or something here. My knee hurts, my back hurts. I didn't sleep very well last night. It's discipline. As long as you've got the discipline and the motivation to know that you're going in the right direction, then it's fine to do whatever you want. But when you haven't got control of your own emotions, you haven't got control of your own training, when you're maxing out every 3 seconds and you're failing everything and you're fucking using excuses left, right and centre and you think, well, if I take this is going to happen. That's when you've got an actual problem. If you don't genuinely believe within yourself you can get somewhere without having to use the gear for excuse, there's a problem. I think you've got to be able to know how to train, you've got to know how to diet, you've got to know how to be strict with yourself, you've got to know when to back off as well. I think a lot of people sometimes get confused when, like, I'll say to people I'm off cycle. Me off cycle is running 400 mg of test a week because I'm at a point now where I've used it nearly 10 years where I'll never be able to fully come off. And that's my own problem because I've done that to myself and I take it on the chin, but I like to think I've done okay for it. But at the same time, if anyone ever comes to me who I train personally and asks for my advice, I'll always say, you're a grown person, you make your own decision, but you've got to be willing to take the side effects with the good effects of it all. And so my advice to anyone would be, if you're going to do it, make sure you're going to be competitive. If you're doing it to go downtown to drink a fucking pint and show you lads how big your 16-inch arms are, listen, if I didn't compete, I wouldn't be that person who's walking around town thinking I was massive. I'm not that sort of person. I think if you aim to be competitive at a decent level, then speak to someone you trust, go to someone who you know, and then just take some good advice, but also learn yourself and your own body.
I think the thing to take away is like what me and Shane have said before. Like if you took, like, say, the gear away from, like, say, you two as an example as elite kind of lifters, like you took the gear away from what you've achieved, and with all the work and you'd still be at a fucking top level anyway. There's a lot of guys that say I coach a lot of guys that are unenhanced or natural, whatever, and you kind of see this attitude going around where they kind of look at people who are enhanced or take gear or whatnot, and kind of people kind of a lot of people point the finger and be like, oh yeah, well, he's only like that because he takes X, Y, and Z, or he wouldn't be able to do that if he were like. Whereas actually, all these kind of fundamental things that you've talked about there, you say about work rate, about turning up when you don't want to, you've got injuries, but you still turn up, like turning up no matter what, and practicing and getting you like just.
We've all been there, lads, right? Where we turn up to a competition, right? And you just think to yourself, do you know when you were out of bed and you think, what's wrong with me today? I cannot switch on. God. And what do? You crack on anyways and you take on the chin like a champ, because that's what fucking winners do. Even when you can't be arsed and even when you're not at your best, you still do your best you can do on the fucking day. Ben Williams is a prime example for someone who we're talking about here, because I've trained Ben. This is coming up for our 5th year now. When Ben first started with me, he trained with me the first 2 years. He was in the Navy powerlifting team and things like that. We've done a few powerlifting competitions. And you can't tell me by Ben getting on cycle that's added 110 kilo to his log. No, that's fucking effort and work rate that's done that.
Yeah, completely agree.
Teston Decker hasn't got Ben to UK's strongest man. Ben's got himself there by listening and just being a good boy and fucking cracking on when he can't be chewed. So, like, there's things you can take away from it. You can either make excuses and say he's only there because of that. He's only there because of that. But I guess what it boils down to yourself and you only. Take responsibility for your own actions and fucking shut up.
Yeah. That's I suppose, like, from hosting this podcast and speaking to people, I love speaking to people who are fucking better than me and as athletes and stuff. Like, I find it really inspirational to find, like, the habits of what people are doing. And
me and Shane are only better than you because we don't belt clean, because we're not that sort of person. We've got respect for ourselves. Apart from that, as human beings, no one's better than anyone apart from people who belt clean.
No, I mean, like the numbers people are lifting in the sport and stuff. Like you know, like when we've had.
Josh, you did a Zerka clean that wasn't a belt clean, and I think you got ripped more than a belt clean, didn't you?
Yeah, that was fucking brilliant. That Zercher clean I did the other day.
Did you not see Rob Ward did that at an England Strongest Man comp under 90 one year, and he did the Zerka axle clean.
Was that the year Travis done it as well?
Yeah, that was the year that Rob came. I don't know why I remember this, but Rob came second on the axle because Adam Travis did a power clean.
I come third. I was against Travis, but bear in mind, this is when I used to compete with a pair of Nike Air Max on and just a belt. I didn't even know what anything was. And, like, I remember being next to him and I got 130 and I went against him in 140. And I was thinking, right, he's just power cleaned it, so I'm going to try and power clean it. But I didn't know what else to do. And it kept, like, slipping out my hands. And I thought, whoa, this is hard. This is really hard. He was brilliant, that Adam Travis. He was class. His squats were fucking dynamite.
Yeah, because he's got a 200 cleaning jerk. So
I'm not surprised.
So when he popped it on the axle, I think he got 155 or whatever it was. But I always remember Rob Ward because he did the Zerka, and that was the first time I ever seen it. I've not really ever seen it since then. And then Josh bloody did it. I was like, oh, bringing that back. But then he got more rinse than belt cleaning. There's a lot of stuff going on about belt cleaning.
I think Josh just brings it on himself. I think people just like to bully him a little bit because it's funny. It's like Ginger Mark. I like to pick on Ginger Mark because it's just really funny. I've got nothing against him. I just find it personally hilarious.
Which one's...
It's not bullying if you know the person. You'd say it to the face. Remember that. That's not bullying then. If you say it to them, it's not bullying. That's a fact.
There's a lad called Sam. Is it Sam LaSurf? I don't know if you've competed against him, but he did it. He does it. An Australian dude. He did like 170 recently with the Zercher, Shane.
Well, what's up with the axle at 90?
No, he's like, I think he's 105. I think he's got like maybe the.
That must be some kind of record. That
Josh, Shane, do you want me to admit something to you now? When I only told Dave Williams the other day, and it's something I'm not proud of, but I've done it because, right. So many moons ago in Skirm Park, I done a 175 kilo axle clean and press with a belt clean.
It's graceful.
And I've not shared this video with anyone because I'm embarrassed by it. It's like, but I've done it and I'm sorry.
Get the video up.
No, I'm not doing it. I'll talk about it. I'm not sure knowing it, but
that's about 10 kilo over the record as well. But you won't share it.
Because you know what it makes me look like? It makes me look like a hypocrite, but I'm just an honest hypocrite. I'll be honest with you. So there you go. You've got some dirt on me, and I've shared it to everyone. I have done
talk about the thing. I'd seen this before. I've seen you posted the events for Britain's under 120s.
Yeah. Wait there. We're gonna move to that. We're still on the fucking intro here, lads.
Wait, we're fucking an hour in. I was just thinking about belt cleans, and I was watching a video and he was talking up about belt cleans at his comp. So are
you gonna do Furman's Max belt clean comp, Dale? Have you seen it?
I'd rather shit in my hands and clap.
Anthony Furman's put on a prize pot for a Max.
I don't need the money. I'd rather be skint, thanks. I don't mind being poor. It's fine. I've got my dignity.
What's all this going on? Would you follow Terry Rady?
Yeah, because I don't think they like each other. It's funny.
Is that what is going on? Because I thought to myself, there's there was a post about him, someone ruining the sport because the belt cleans, and then I was seeing, and now I've heard about this Max belt
it's not ruining the sport. To me, it's banter. I think it's got it. I started off saying, "What on earth are they doing that for?" And it got to the point where you start arguing with people, but it ends up being like not like a bit of banter you have with people. It just ends up being really funny. Like it's like me. Everyone always tags me whenever you have a kind of nourishment. It's like a thing that goes around now.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's like belt cleans. It's always me that gets tagged in it, and then Anthony Furman will get tagged in it, and Andy Black, and then Dean McVie ends up throwing his toys out the pram about it. It's just really funny. It's just funny, isn't it?
Right, like Dale, tell us. Let's move on a little bit. Right, tell us a bit more about your other lifts then. Like, because I like looking at your kind of all your lifts for strongman, like your grip, your stones, your moving events, your like. You can do everything. So just give us a bit. What's your favorite yokes that you've ever done? Favorite farmers?
My favorite event in the whole wide world is farmers walks for one straight line for as much weight as possible for as fast as possible. I've won that at 2 different Arnold's events, and Arnold's last year I actually qualified for the 105s from coming second in Arnold's Australia, and I think I was joint first or second going into the second day, and I won the deadlift, and I come second or third in the log, and I seen the next day, and it was fucking 360 yoke, and I was like, whoa, this has got me written all over it, and a 140 farmers, and I thought, yes, I'm fucking through to the grand final. There's no stopping me now, and this is where experience comes in, boys. Guys, anyone who's listening to this, even if you're really good at something, do not let your head get too big and don't think you're going to win it, because things go awfully wrong. So walked into the farmers and I thought, you were all getting roasted here, lads. You've got nothing on me. I've won these 2 competitions in a row and I can't be stopped. Pick the farmers up, got 5 meters from the end. Both of the farmers clanged at the back. I tripped over the farmers and both of them done this like 360 fucking turn, and I had to go and collect the farmers to put them back in the middle to pick it up to finish, and I finished the farmers in 30 seconds. And that just knocked me all the way down to 10th, and I couldn't get myself back up. Even I don't have it. I come 3rd or 4th in the York or something. And like, farmers is my favourite event, but I went into that with way too much confidence, and that's something which I will always treasure happening to me, because that was perfect. What I needed at my point in my strongman journey was to get my ass handed to me for being too cocky and too arrogant of my own self-belief. So there you go, for anyone who's listening. Farmers is my favourite, but don't get too confident.
The different farmers, aren't they, at the Arnold's? Like,
well, they weren't the first year I was there. They were fucking dynamite. I smashed it. And then the second year, they put, do you know the plate-loaded ones you put in at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, God, mate, I couldn't believe it. And, like, that's a mistake which I made, which I'm very grateful for making it, because at the end of the day, I approached it with too much confidence instead of just sticking to the game plan and getting the job done. And I always appreciate learning curves, and I never see a negative if I can get a positive out of it, because I always think that's going to make you a better athlete in the future. And as a coach, I like to tell people those stories. So whenever we're in competition, I say, don't be a knobhead like Dale. You do what you can, because I've made these mistakes before. York's one of my favourite events. Same thing, go as heavy as you like. It's fine. I've done a 30 beltless yoke for 20 meters. That's one of my training sets, which I really like. I've done that. Actually, Joe, my favorite lift ever, I've got two, was my first time I ever power cleaned 160 kilo. Nothing that impressive, but it was something which I'd always really wanted to do. And I've got a 305 double overhand deadlift as well, which is something I'm really good at.
Fucking
Not hook grip, double overhand.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I think I've seen your double overhands. Do you power clean hook grip?
No. I just fucking grab hold of it and fling it up.
Yeah, I thought so. That's what I did. So I was going to say that 160 power clean's 10 times more impressive if it's double overhand. You're a madman.
Yeah, it's double overhand. I think my best power clean's 165 or 167, but I literally just throw it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not much technique involved with that, just pure Mong strength.
Stones. What about stones?
Stones. And the best stone I've only ever went up to 180 because I've never really had to go any heavier. I normally focus on height on stones.
Yeah.
Because I always think you can get a better triple extension going higher than lower. So I don't really train stones very low. I generally work up to like 160 for like a set of 3 to 5. I like to normally think I like a decent height. So I like to teach myself more triple extension than what I do heavy lifting on a stone. One for me is injury prevention because one snap bicep you're out for 6 months. If I did have a heavier stone run in a competition, I'd do it in a run. That's no problem at all. But I always like to practice on like a decent weight to a decent height. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's a more important thing. I've done a 160 stone to shoulder as well. That was quite cool. And he died twice beforehand.
Fucking hell.
That's one of my things I want to tick off, you know. I've got I have these random lift goals I like to do. And I've always wanted to shoulder a 160, and I have no idea why. You know, when you just fucking tell yourself something.
Yeah.
So that is something I'm going to try and do this year, to be honest.
I remember I did the 150 beforehand, and my uncle was watching me. So I did 140, 150, 160, and I got the 150 to my shoulder, and I dropped it, but there was a little 1 kilo plate on the floor. It smashed off him, and it just flew past his head. And he was stood there with his little vapey pipe, and he went, "Wow, what the fuck's just happened there, son? I thought a bit of shrapnel's about to hit me in the eye." Do you know when you talk about random lifts? I've got one thing I need to tick off, and I've only ever done 16 on it. Is a 220 squat for 20. I don't know why. It's something which stuck in my head a bit, and I've only ever managed 16 because I die.
Yeah, I've done 205 for 20.
How did that feel?
The reason it was fucking... Well, it's weird, them 20s, because you feel all right until about 30 seconds after you put it back, and then you're fucking dead. But the reason why I wanted to do 227 for, I think it's 26 or something, because that's what Tom Platz did.
Like £500?
Yeah, he did like 20. He was a little bit over 20, but that's always been another one that I've wanted to try and get, because I always remember that set. It's probably a famous set, isn't it? Like, fucking class.
Of course. I like that sort of stuff. But yeah, anything just all around really. I'll be honest with you, but my week events is sandbag tossing. For some reason, I'm that person who always smacks the fucking board with no matter what weight it's like. It's just, a lot of it means it's one of those things. Sometimes when you get your triple extension right, it flies. But I try not to look back and see where the sandbag's going. I find that throws me back too much. So sandbag tossing, I'm a little bit turned on, but that's more to do with this. I always look at it like this. How many times have you squat, bench, deadlift, and logged in the gym? How many times have you threw a sandbag in your life?
Yeah, it's just practice, mate, isn't it?
It's all practice. But I used to be really poor at medleys for the simple fact I didn't train them enough, whereas now it's completely different. So like kegs, sandbags, picking up weird objects, Conan's wheels I've learned to really enjoy them now. Do you know, like going through the pain barrier?
Yeah.
I've learned to really enjoy the pain barrier now, and I kind of like, in a sick way, I kind of like being a little bit discomfort, like someone sat on you a bit. I like it.
Yeah, that's what I really like about that. That's where a kind of our approaches are very different, but there's a lot of similarities, and in terms of the fact that you've just said, oh well, you've something that I'm weak at, you'll just practice it more and just hammer a load of work at that. And
very important. If you don't work your weak point, what's the point you doing a sport?
And that's just literally all that I do is like, if I'm shit at something, I'll practice it every day if I want to until I force it up to get to as good as I need to be, if you will.
Yeah, I like to throw a lot of power variations into my training though. So like I'll do like power upright rows, power snatch upright rows. So it's like it's kind of like a cheaty upright row from the floor. So I pull towards my chin. I just like to develop as much power and force into things as possible. Power cleans, power upright rows, hang upright rows, hang cleans, things like that. Do you know why I do it? Because I really actually enjoy flinging heavy weights about.
Yeah.
I like putting a lot of power into things.
So we've talked about this before on here. I think these that you like, say the high pulls and the power upright rows, whatever you want to call them. I think for general power development, for somebody who doesn't want to like the learning curve is like dead easy compared to like say learning weightlifting or whatever, learning how to snatch properly and stuff like that. Like to get the benefit that a lot of strongman are wanting to get, you don't need to get as technical as that to get the benefit of triple extension and moving explosively, like, you know, and like the mobility to catch a clean and stuff like that. Like you can get a lot of those benefits from just doing like you say power rows, power upright. Like I think
I got that stuff, you know, from watching Sven Carlson. Have you ever watched Viking Power?
No.
Oh, fucking hell, mate. You say you're a strongman fan. You haven't watched Viking Power. You need to watch Viking Power on YouTube, bro. It's absolutely awesome.
They do Thingy used to do that type of training as well. Phil Fister, did you ever watch his documentary on
yeah, man. Like, watch Viking Power, mate. It's literally Sven Carlson in a barn just throwing things around for fun. And it gets you proper psyched up. It's brilliant, mate. It's someone you've got to watch. And anyone who listens to this, Sven Carlson, Viking Power, there's Magnus Samuelsson one as well. They're both really good old school strongman documentaries, which make you think, how good would them guys be now? I think a lot of people, like as a strongman sort of like geek as such, I don't like comparing people from 20 years ago to now because I don't think it's fair because I think any sport develops. It's like saying, I'm not a big football fan, but could Pele play football now? It's not, you can't really compare that sort of stuff. It's not fair, is it?
No.
Do you know what I mean? And like I don't generally get involved in these arguments because I think like it's unfair. But I do like to see the old school way of training because I think things can sometimes develop at that faster rate now. Like you look at the way Novikov is now. He's 24, 25 years old. There's no guy that age who should be that strong and athletic. I know there's people who are stronger physically in the sense of like 1 rep max lifts, but at the moment he is the most powerful strongman on earth at this very second. Yeah. And I think for a 25-year-old bloke, you've got to look at it and go, how the fuck do you be that strong and compete that much at such a young age?
Yeah.
But I think everyone's different. And like, that's why I love competing abroad. A lot of people sometimes ask me this now, well, how come you don't do England's and UK's and all that? Because I always say, once I get in my 30s and I'm a little bit older, I'll travel a lot less. But at the moment, I like to go away to speak to different people, to compete abroad so I can learn more off other people and also do a little bit of traveling and see what it's all about, this sport. Because like the way the Eastern Bloc lads train compared to how like the Scottish lads train, how the English lads train, how the Welsh lads train, everyone's like, all nations seem to have this different attitude towards the sport.
So
and I like to
feel the best bits. Like you've said it before. I've listened to on one of your chats before where you said like about what you said. You've described the different areas of like the Eastern Bloc guys are good at like brilliant at moving and overhead, and then the Americans, they can't deadlift, but they can. What did you say? What did you say? Go through it.
I always look at it like this. If you're going against a Ukrainian or an Eastern Bloc lad against a frame or a yoke, you know you're going to have a really bad race, and they're going to be on your heels like a bastard. If you're going in overhead against a Russian, he is not going to stop repping out until that timer stops. So you've got to be on your game. If you're going against a Scotchman on an Atlas stone, you may as well stop and just realise you're coming second, regardless of what you look at it. But the way it is, those lads from the UK are the best deadlifters in the world, and we are the best strongmen in the world. Am I being a little bit arrogant there towards UK strongman? Yes, I am, because we are the best, because we are king of strongmen and women. And I always find the Americans are very like, I think the Americans are really smart competitors like the Eastern Bloc lads. I think a lot of the English guys and the UK guys go balls to the wall in every single event. And that's just the way we are as a community, I think, where every event we've got to give it all. Whereas I find the Americans and even the Australians are a bit like it, and the Eastern Bloc lads, they're a little bit more calculated to the approach to the events, which can sometimes be a good and a bad thing. But yeah, I just find it very interesting how other people approach it, and like how everyone's got their own training style, and how everyone's got their own sort of output on competition. So it'll be like, I would never go up to a competition and go, how many reps did you get there, mate? I need to go and check the score sheet, because I don't even look at the score sheet, because I generally just go flat out and I don't really care if something falls off. Whereas now I'm getting a little bit older, all the deals are a lot more calculated. Whereas if I was watching Ben or Gav compete, I'd be there looking at the scores going, right, lads, save your energy because you've got silver dollar deadlift in 2 events, but this is a heavy yoke. I just wish sometimes when I was a little bit younger and I've competed and I've been abroad on my own, someone was there telling me what to do and what not to do. And I think the calculated approach is a very smart way about competing. Whereas
I've always been like that. I always check score sheets and I always want to know what time people get. I always watch. I'm watching everything when I compete, because if there's an event I'm really good at that I can do, let's say it's a rep event and I can do 20 reps or something. If I'm out 5th in that, and there's another 5 guys to go, I like to know, I've done a bit of research, and I like to know roughly how many reps I think people are going to get.
That's fine, yeah.
I don't want to do 20 reps and then be fucked and come first by 8 reps, because I did that one year at Northern England Strongman, the 200 squat for reps or 180 squat for reps or something, and I was out like 3rd, and I did like 19 reps, and then second place was like 11 reps. I could have done 12, I literally was being sick in that because I fucking did a 20 rep set. I was fucking dead. Quads were twitching and cramping. It made the rest of me comp shite. And I learned that day, like, you need to be a bit more calculated and know what's going on. Because turning up to a comp and not knowing what everybody's going to lift, it's great at certain points in your like lifting career because you can just fucking go ham and do everything. But you get to a certain level, you got to know when to push the gas and when to pull back, because
totally agree.
You don't want, especially like
you don't get more points.
You don't want to go into stones, fucking dead, do you know what I mean?
Nah. You don't get more points at the end of the day getting 10 more reps on someone, and they come second. If anything, they've got the advantage over you because they're less fucked. And I've found, and that is generally from experience. A lot of my experience as a strongman and a coach comes from me making some really bad mistakes. And I like to think that's why people can trust me when I look after them, because I like to think, even Gav and that say it to me, they go, how do you know this sort of stuff? I go, because Gav, I've been there myself and I've made that many mistakes. I know what to do and what not to do no more. And that point scoring thing is one which I do take on board now. Do you know who's absolutely brilliant at it? Paul Smith. He's fantastic at it. He really is. He's really
got to be like with Paul.
Yes. Which one's Paul Smith? What does Paul Smith look like?
He wears New Balance trainers and looks like he shouldn't be allowed anywhere near skills.
But with Paul, I like Paul. I respect Paul because he's got. Let's be honest, right? At the level he competes at, being fucking natural, he's got a little bit of a disadvantage, hasn't he? So he has to be smarter in other areas. And it doesn't surprise me that he's good at manipulating the scoreboard and that, because I think you got to.
All of us as coaches understand that now, and I think there's like a community of coaches in the UK which have got a really good base, and I think it's very important as a coach to learn from your own experiences so you can pass them on to your guys and girls, and also implement it yourself. I used to be one of those guys who used to. I've always been a big believer in showing the guys and girls who are trained that I put the work in. So, like, whatever I tell you to do, I'm not being a dickhead. I'm being generally serious. I want the best for you. But if I'm telling you to pull back a bit in an event for a certain reason, then you see me going balls to the walls, you're like, oh, Dale, what are you doing? Like, you can't tell me this. You can't tell me that if you're doing it. And this is what I like to say with experience. I don't think to be a good coach, you need mental amount of qualifications. I don't think that's really important. Like, I've got a degree, I've been to college and all that bullshit, but it means absolutely nothing when it comes to strongman. All that boils down to, I'm not saying you have to be the world's best competitor to be a good coach, but I think if you've got a higher level experience in the sport yourself, you've got a better knowledge of what what's to be expected at those high levels. I'll give you an example. We've all been there. When you first start competing and you're in a warm-up room, what's one of the first things people do when they're a little bit less experienced, a little bit shy? They don't get warmed up properly because they're a little bit standoffish. They'll go, I don't know, but with experience, you fucking learn, right? Find the biggest gobshite you can find in that warm-up area, latch onto him like he's your best friend and go, right, me and you plate load of each other, we'll take control of this warm-up room. This might sound mental, lads. A very important part of this sport is taking control of the warm-up room. And I'm not saying like force your way around things. What I'm saying is you're competing as much as everyone else. So get yourself fucking warm because no one else is going to do it for you.
I tell my guys, you can be the nicest guy in the world, but when you're in that warm-up room, you got to be a dickhead. Because if you're not, you're going to the bar's going to get to 180 and you ain't touched it. And then you're going to end up pulling 220 for one and then going out to do deadlift for it. And that's why people get injured at strongman comps. Like they don't get injured in training. They've done it a million times in training, but in strongman comp, you're outside, the weather might be bad, you're a bit cold, and if you don't be pushy in the warm-up room, because often there's one bar, one set of plates, 12, 15 lads, and if you're a bit shy and don't want to like jump in and say, oh, fucking dickheads, put it to 60 kilo, you're at 180, I want 60. You know, you've got to be that guy or else you're going to end up...
And also as well, like take control of like take control of the ref and the guys who are organising it. If they call your name out, but you're still waiting for your chalk to dry or whatever, or you're putting your wrist wraps on, just fucking act calm and collected. Don't rush in.
Yeah, Josh, if you try that at the Arnold with Dion, she will tell you to go and fuck yourself. It's either you come now or you're not going at all. They're brutal over there, mate. I swear, they're brutal. But
yeah, they've got time constraints, so haven't they? With the
the bigger competitions where there's more people there, like the OSG and things like that. That's when it becomes a problem when you've got that many competitors, when you've only got a certain amount of kit. I don't think it's too bad. I'll give you an example. If we were all in a competition now, and there was 15 of us there, because you know the guys, I think most people would speak to each other and be like, how then, Shane? Shut up, fucking go on, you get on, Josh. Are you warming up or not? But when you're actually in a field of like international athletes where you've got 5 of them who can't speak English, they don't give a fuck about you. So you've got to literally to take charge yourself. And
I suppose what I'm saying is more like, say for instance, you're doing a medley and you take time to set your keg right, time to set your sandbag right. If your farmers are a little bit wonky or whatever, say, no, look, can you straighten up the farmers before we start? I'm not happy with that. You're doing a stone run and the stones aren't perfectly aligned or whatever, and there's one close to the platform. Like, tell the organizer, look, I want that stone a little bit further back before we start. I'm not ready. Like stuff like.
There's no Kirash Majidi. Kirash was the most brutal person in the world for that sort of stuff. Kirash is a proper cheeky bastard, and he would literally like.
He likes belt clean, doesn't he?
Kirash does not like belt cleans. Kirash would hit you with his belt if you heard you say that. Kirash was that guy who would literally say, "Oh, no, I'm not going unless that's there. Not a chance. Yeah. Not doing that." I like to talk about our local lads and our national lads and that because, like you say, we've got the under 80s coming up, the Britain's Strongest Man, and I think it's good for these guys to see, guys with a little bit more experience, how learning from these competitions that we're going to be doing here, when they go abroad, it's going to be less as a shock to them. I think some people, when they first do the first Worlds, the first International, they're more overwhelmed by the experience and being there than what they are. They forget that they're actually there to compete and win. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a massive part why some people act the way they're doing those warm-up rooms, because they're sometimes just happy to be there. Whereas I remember saying this to Ben this year before his first UKs, I'd say, listen, you deserve to be here. So don't think that like anyone's going to do you any favours. All these lads want to beat you. You need to beat them as well. Put your headphones in and I'm going to walk you all the way through. No matter what happens, we're going to get it done together. And do you know what? Did you watch the UK Strongest Man?
Yeah, well, I've seen the first 2 episodes.
Did you see Ben's first day?
Yeah, so it was brilliant on the oak.
Oh, mate. Do you know something? This is going to sound like a bit weird. If he had those final events compared to the second day events, it'd have been a fucking mental story, you know, because like the first day, like he absolutely smashed it. And the only reason why I didn't get that log up on the last one, if you watched, you know that lycra top that they have, like the onesie?
Yeah.
I didn't realise he had his onesie on underneath his T-shirt. So when he was trying to clean the log, it just kept sliding off. And he seen him afterwards. He come home and went, I kept my Lycra top on, didn't I? I can't believe it. I kept it on. I was like, oh, and they were like, I thought it was a good experience to do that, mate. It was a fucking good experience.
You should have got into belt clean, Dale.
He's got a big fat belly. It doesn't count.
Right. So
doesn't count when you got a big fat belly.
So what? So we talked about your goals as a bit about your goals as an athlete. So you're going to pull 400 next week. What? Just touch on before we move on. Like what are your goals as an all-round strongman athlete? You want to do well at the 105s, don't you? Eventually OSG.
Well, as long as travel restraints and brutal, I've been invited to Arnold's Australia next year in March. I've already got an invite through for that. So my goal is to go to Arnold's Australia podium, and then go to Arnold's America and podium. My big goal, because I've podiumed in Australia and at Europe's, my big goal as a strongman is to podium at Arnold's America, and I could honestly say to you, I will take that 1,000,000%. I'd like to do some ultimate strongman stuff. I want to do a few world team championships. I'd like to go at the 105 worlds just on my own as the ultimate strongman. Also, I'll be totally honest with you, I've got every aspect of me wants to pull 420 kilo at 105. I couldn't give a fuck if it's a world record or not at the time. I'm not bothered about that no more. The one record I always set myself out, Shane will know this from knowing me, I always wanted to be the first man at under 90 to pull that 4 times body weight. And that's something that can never be took away from me ever. And that was something which I was, be honest with you, I was very proud of myself for that. Not proud in the sense of like, I'm the main man. It was like, I literally wanted that for so long. And when I was the first person to do it, I was fucking buzzing. So for now...
As well as that, you had some crazy good under 90 guys that were all wanting that goal as well. So it wasn't... As much as it is like a personal thing, I always think as a competitor, it's nice to do something like... You know what I mean? Like when loads of people are aiming for a milestone, like the first person to pull this, like for example, Eddie Hall, the first person to pull 500, it will get broke eventually, but he will always be the first, and you will always be the first to, because I'm proud of that as well. I was the first under 80 to do 4
exactly.
times.
And like you can never get it took away from me. And it's like, I know like records are there to be broken, it's been broke, but that was down to my own thing where I just thought, do you know what, I've done that. And I have to be honest with you, I was so fucking like, wow, you like it's respect from peers, which I like, where it's like the people who you're around and they're like, you know what, Dale, do you remember that? And I go, you know what, even in 20 years time we'll have a laugh about that. Oh, we've done that. That was fucking brilliant. And it's something which I'll always be proud of, and it's something which I always hold like as like a thing for myself, where it's like, I like to think in our own company we've got this really strong base of lightweight and middleweight strongman, and if we can start breaking barriers and pushing it, I like to think we're the best in the world.
Do you think you'll pull 420 in a comp then? Would you like to do that? Because that would be 4 times.
Shane, this is what I was about to touch on. I want to pull the 400 in the gym, that's fine, that's something I'll take. But I will pull in to be in somewhere because traveling to pull world records.
Dale, you're going to have to say that 105. Say that last bit again. It's fucking. It's lagged, and I know it was. Oh shit! It's my. I think it's my internet. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's fine for me.
Yeah, but
so I want to pull that 420 in competition at 105. 1,000,000%, mate. And I also want to log 190 in competition as a 105 as well. Be that this year or next year, but the 420 will happen in competition 100%.
Will you be doing that similar day, logging down like an SFN or something like that? Or
I'll be honest with you, I'd just deadlift. I'd just go with my whole head just on that one lift. Do you know what I mean?
There's no doubt about it. Training thing as well, though. Do you find it hard to peak the log and dead at the same time, or is it more just to get you ready?
I find it hard to peak a squat and deadlift at the same time because my body gets fucked. But an overhead, I used to always do it like this. I used to always do heavy front squats and log, or I'd do heavy back squats and push press, or I'd do heavy deadlifts and log, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? It'd either be a squat or a deadlift variation in with overheads. But I've knocked a lot of the rack pressing on the head heavy now because it was Lee who always said, at the end of the day in a competition, you're always going to have to clean it to your shoulders before you press it.
Yeah. Because the reason why I asked you that is something that I noticed you said before at the start. You said that as you're getting older, you're struggling to recover from, going heavy like the log. You said you need 2 weeks or so for your knees, and I'm the same. But I'm always in this weird mindset where I'm like, is it because I'm older, or is it just because now the weight's fucking mad?
It's the weight. It's the weight. It's as simple as that. It's the weight, and it's just like natural progression. It's like me now. I used to train 5 or 6 days a week, and now we only train 4. But I also train a lot lighter than what I used to, but I'm getting stronger.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
what speed work is something I've picked up a lot on. Speed work. Like, I find if you can get your technique right on speed work, when you start pumping the weights up, you're that used to moving weights fast. And I haven't been lifting as heavy and battering myself all the time. When I do start to come to those heavier weights, I see it as like a nice little treat. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a treat.
Yeah, I feel like what I do now is I tell myself I've got to earn my heavy lift by doing a couple of sessions of good graft at lighter weights, and then I'm like, right, you've earned it now. In a couple of days, I'm gonna put 120 or something, and I know it's gonna feel fucking terrible, and I wait until my graft sessions feel fast again before I go heavy. Whereas back in the day, I'd be able to string together 6, 7, 8 weeks of heavy log training in a row. I can't.
Easy. But you imagine that with 140 kilo, for example, 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little bit more, and then you've added 40 kilo on top of that now. Your body's taking an absolute fucking battering. Do you know what I mean? And like, what I will say to people is, training for a one lift is a lot easier than training for a full competition. So if I was training for a full competition, I do not do 1 rep maxes, because if I've got yoke and farmers today, and then I've got sandbag toss, and then like a loaded medley, and then I've got a deadlift for reps, where the fuck can I fit in a max squat or something in there? Because I'm going to be fucking battered. You know what I mean? You need to preserve your energy and do it to what's happening for the now. So for me, for example, if a 1 rep max was part of a competition, in the sense of a 5 or 6 events, I wouldn't actually be training a 1 rep max cycle to the point where I'm trying to hit a PB. I'd do it to how I felt, because for me, it'd be more about point scoring.
Yeah.
So, for example, the closest person to me we might be looking at now, when you go, right, we're doing a 105 deadlift competition, that guy is desperately capable of pulling 380. That guy might touch 140. But if I can stay in the top 3 or 4 and pull a nice, comfortable 370, 380, I'd rather hit that than try and smash out a 400 and win it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. That's the thing I tell my athletes when they sign up to a comp with a max deadlifting. They're like, let's get on it. The first thing they just see max dead. They don't even look at the 4 events, and they're like, look, I need a dead cycle. I need this. I'm gonna up my gear. And I'm like, boys, it's fucking. You've already got the biggest deadlift there. You know, you don't even need like pull 20. Even if you pull 20 kilo below your max, you're gonna come first in that event, or even top, like say top 3. But then it's the other 4 events that are going to win the competition. And I always find in 5 event comps, there's one event where I can look at and go, that event there is probably going to decide the winner, because it's like
single arm dumbbell.
The what?
Single arm dumbbell.
Well, yeah, there's usually there's an event like a forward hold or a Hercules hold or a tire flip. And if I see events like that, I'm like, they're events that people won't be training or grafting, because
where you're going to be able to make a difference to your points, aren't you? In that
exactly. Right. Yeah, even in a medley, you lads know what it's like competing in a medley. I've explained this to quite a few people. 1 second on a medley can cost you 6 places. Yeah. I was speaking to JF Karen about it, and he says at Worlds in that medley, he said there was 4 of them on the same second, but he was bottom of that second, so he lost like 3 or 4 points in one event. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like daft little things now. So I do a lot more footwork drills. I do more skipping, and like I always say to Ben, I go, right. So we've got 4 kegs to load here, right? It doesn't really matter how long it takes you to load that keg. It's that little burst on the way back that's going to get your points. So if you can knock half a second off that little burst on the way back, that's 2 seconds you've knocked off your time.
Yeah,
completely. So we had Gavin last week, and what I generally do is with the more experienced guys, even though Gav's not the most experienced strongman in the world, I do this and I won't say nothing to them, and I watched him do a loading medley, and I watched his first one like that, And I just took him in the gym. I went, right, here's the video. Why are you picking that up like this? You've got a keg down, hanging on your legs, and you're fucked. What have you got, Gav? What most people don't have? You've got a big fucking keg and a keg in your hands. So what you do is pick it up like this, load it nice and high. You're tall enough. What happens on his next set? He knocked 15 seconds off his first round just by adjusting where he held something and then took a little bit more out the gas tank by going a little bit faster in between. 15 seconds on one event, just by literally looking at one video for a minute and then going, do A, B, C, D, job done. Practice that. Because with things like loading medleys and that, if you've got a 170 keg as a heavyweight, you do not need to train with a 170 keg.
No.
You need to get yourself a nice 100, 120 and practice the speed. Because them guys are fucking strong enough to pick that keg up. I don't know, maybe do a few pickups of it. But you need to focus more on the speed in between these medleys to get your times down and lower. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you agree with that.
I've been training people for Norths, and there's a 180 keg in it or something.
Mate, Gary Gardner is the best in the world at that. I don't know if you've ever seen him before. He's
I know he loads it every year, doesn't he?
He's disgusting. He literally gets a 160 keg like a crate of beer and just goes, way. I'm like that. What the fuck?
But my guys haven't. Well, for starters, I don't think there's many 180 kegs dotted around the country. But none of my guys have trained over a 140 keg. For that, they've just been doing. In fact, most has been at 120. Like you say, speed,
I've been doing with Ben
and learning where to hold it and all that. I said to him, if you get a 180 keg in every week, you're gonna be fucked. I was like,
mate, your biceps will fall off.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Dale, like if you can get something like that, and you can find a weight where someone can accumulate a load of practice, even if it was a 90 or 100, and that means that in their 6-week training block they can get fucking 50 working sets in, 100 working sets or whatever. Like if they get that practice in it, even just a moderate weight, like you even if you're not doing it with a coach, like you learn so fucking much, don't you, over the course
Guaranteed you do. Guaranteed you do that.
What if
medleys or something?
Or I'll try a little bit more forward lean, or I'll try leading with the left foot this time, or I'm going to work on the transition back. I'm going to work on the sprint back this time. There's so much that you can work on to get these kind of micro gains, isn't there?
Yeah, but like you say there, if you've got 4 kegs and you can knock off 0.2 of a second on each one, there's a second you've knocked off your time.
Yeah.
And it might not seem a lot, but if you win a York or a Farmers by a second, that's a lot. That's a lot in a full strongman competition. It is. It's a fucking massive amount because, like you say, us three could go against each other. Shane could be on 15.1, I could be on 15.6, and you could be on 15.9, and he wins a competition by half a point just by getting that 0.5 of a second faster than me or you.
That's the thing with the things like the lighter training as well. That stuff like talking about bag throw before. When I was training Luke for Worlds, he was fast at bag throw. I got him fast, but I didn't know what the standard was because I'd never trained anybody for a world's level bag throw, and also the guys at the comp, I wasn't too familiar with what they were going to get. And he got I think it was like 25 seconds or something, and then he came like 6th or something. But then it was like 25. He was on like 25.6. It was like 25.2, 24.8, 24.
Brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like, it's like two seconds would have got him like 6-7 points or something. And now it's like, right, we need to shave off 2 seconds. So we've got to look at, like, you can't waste any time setting up your swing. You can't waste any time between the bags. Like, you got to get like proper fine to find them extra like a second.
The best thing about keg bag throw is it's great going for speed and attacking it, but do you find sometimes lads do that really awkward thing where they get a little bit overzealous by trying to go that a little bit too fast and they end up fucking it and it costs them 5 seconds. It's one of those events which you actually have to attack. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't leave nothing a chance.
If you go too fast and get a bad swing, it just goes the wrong way. You don't go high enough. And so you've got to be fast and rushy, but like controlled and perfect. I really enjoy that event, I think it's...
I know I sound like a broken record on this, but like stuff like that, like those mistakes where you're being overzealous and rushing it and making a mistake, like all this can be ironed out with by practicing and practicing.
Experience conquers all, in my opinion. I'll be absolutely honest with you. I know I sound like a broken record with this experience crack, and I sound like a 50-year-old man, right? But we're all quite young, and especially me and you, Shane, we've got a lot of years in the gym, a lot of years on the platform, a lot of years in different sort of strength sports. It's when you come across people and you see them making the mistakes you've made yourself as a coach, that is very important, because when you grab someone quite fresh who's making these mistakes, you can really help them. The hardest part is, I find, when you take someone who's a little bit older, I don't know about you, when someone's a little bit older and they've got this way of training and trying to break them out of this habit where you say to them, I cannot do anything with you in 12 weeks. You need to give me 6, 9 months to a year to actually get you how I need you to be. So you've got to be patient with me. I've had a lad recently say, Dale, I've been with you 3 months and you haven't let me max out yet. And I go, because you aren't even fucking ready to max out. I feel weaker than what I was. I said, yeah, because I've literally pulled everything back and sorting all your technique, working on it. Do you know how long it takes me on a fucking weekend to sit and look at all your videos and write you a new plan out, because I don't copy and paste everything because I'm not a knob cheese, and do all these exercises custom to you. And then what happens the next few days? God, I can't believe what you've just told me. I've just went in there and smashed the log PB and it's the easiest I've ever done it. I went, punching the screen. I was like, mate, I said, because do you think I just take your money off you and don't want to help you? I said, no. My main point as a coach is, number one, is injury prevention. That is number one for me, is your safety. So I'm not going to let you go and do a max deadlift every 3 weeks, because it's fucking pointless. You're not going to get nowhere. Number two, it's all about technique. And number three, it's all about making you a better all-round athlete. That's what 3D Strength stands for. I like to think every single person who I train is well-conditioned in a competition scenario where they're going to finish every single event throughout the full competition, and they're going to be as fresh at the start as what they were at the end, because I want you to do your best in all the events. I want you to be an all-round athlete. I'm just not going, just because you're a deadlift specialist, or you say you're a deadlift specialist, doesn't mean I'm just going to work on your deadlift. You're going to work all your weak areas, and that's how it is. And if you don't like it, then unfortunately we're going to have a little bit of an issue, because I want to make you a better athlete, not build your ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone's coming to you to be a strong man, you need to tell them, don't you? Well, 60% of your training can't be focused around the deadlift. That's what it is nowadays. I mean, I can't talk because I do it, but I feel like I've done my time, and I do it now because it's fun. But it's not a deadlift and log comp; it's a strongman comp. And I think people's training nowadays is too focused around a big log and dead. And when you put the graph bits in, like the medley work and the loading and the front carries and this and that. Like for me, it's like people.
Mate, you want to see some of the shit I make people doing accessory days, like back days and things like that. And they're like, "What the fuck's all this?" I go, "Listen, if you fucking want to fucking strong everything, you need a strong upper back and a posterior chain. And that doesn't mean I'm going to make you do heavy weights. That means you're getting 250 rear delts to finish this training session off, and a shitload of grip work. One thing people do really neglect, lads, is grip training. And I'm not saying you need the best grip in the world, but some people are really good at kinky 1 rep max grip stuff. But if you're doing like a farmer's, you're doing like a Hercules hold, you're doing like a medley at the end of a competition, and your grip starts going, you're going to really struggle to keep hold of things. And not just that, grip endurance on things like on logs, clean and presses, things like that. The tighter you can grab hold of something, the more muscles you recruit. People put a log, clean it to your chest and not tight hold of it. Oh. You know what I mean? And I'm a big believer it works. I'll do like 2 grip days a week at the end of a session. Like things like I've started implementing a lot of stuff like behind back holds of 140 kilo. I'll hold it for 30 seconds, rest for 1 minute, hold it again and keep going till I can't feel my fingers. And also like back grip holds with the orange ones, they are absolutely horrendous. Foul. But I found now, even daft little things, you know what it's like? You know when you walk around the gym and you pick up like a 20 kilo plate and you go to load it and you go, oh yeah, that feels nice. Do you know what I mean? I like a nice, strong, powerful grip. I think it's very, very important in strongman.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I've brought in more recently in the last 3 or 4 months, and definitely feel a benefit.
You've been doing some bits of Mark, haven't you? Has Mark been doing?
Yeah, well, he's come down. He's came down and did a bit on the Dinnies and
I thought he'd shown you a few grip setups and stuff.
I've never tried them. Are they any good, Guinea studs?
It's just a variation, like, because that's what I'll do with like the grip stuff is like each week I'll do like a farmer's day or frame or whatever, like a moving grip kind of stuff, where I'll cycle variation. Some days I might do fat grip, some days I'll do farmers or frame or whatever, and then I'll do a secondary like upper body day where I'll do static holds. So like I might do like 60 mil axle, I might do pinch block, I might do dinnies one week, I might do hangs, but just generally getting the grip back.
I'll give you a good one. After your heavy frame or farmers, whack some fat grips on with about 60 kilo each hand and keep doing 15 minutes there and back until you give out in between them.
15 minutes there and back. What?
15 meters there, 15 meters back. And as soon as you hit the end zone, you've got to turn straight around and go back in. You can't rest. And you fail when you drop in this dead zone. Try that. Your forearms end up being like the Man of Scary Movie. It's class. It's like a really weird feeling as well. And also things like plate pinch farmers to grab like 2 10s or 2 5s on the smooth side and just farmers walk up and down the gym until you can't do no more. Do you know what I mean? They're good little burnout exercises, you know. It's really, really like a bit. It's a lot of it's a mental thing as well, where you just think, keep hold, please, keep hold.
It's so common that you see like at all levels of strongman that you see people like strong lads and they're struggling with the grip, and the thing is, it's just it's actually quite easy to slot into a training program, isn't it? Because it's like it's dead easy to recover from. Isn't it?
Do you know what Odd Haugen said something quite a few years ago, and I always remember it. It was somewhere along the lines of this: grip training is the one thing that takes the longest to build, but it's the last thing to go as a strength athlete. So the older you get, your grip is the last thing that diminishes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I remember him always saying that when he was still competing at Worlds and when he's in his later days, and he says that's what a lot of the thing that kept him going. And if you even look at him now, Odd Haugen's an absolute, he's the Yoda when it comes to grip. And like, I think grip's one of those things, even as you get a little bit older, it's always something you can push yourself on in different variations. There's that many different things to do.
Right. So last little bit, we've talked about Dale as the athlete. We've talked about a bit on coaching philosophy, which has been really interesting. So let's talk about like sport development and you as a promoter and what you're doing. So we've, so I got in contact with you with the to help us out with the under 80s Britons that we've put on, and we've asked you to commentate with Shane and that guy with the weird shoes with the pedo lad.
So we're actually doing this commentating then? I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, fucking right. Yeah, I think it'd be brilliant. You three, definitely.
Can I get my microphone turned off during the Axel event, whatever it is? I'm going for a break on that one.
You can just rinse him; it'll be fine.
I'm head referee on that one. No ref. Do you mean I pressed it? Nah, I didn't go up properly. I didn't like it.
So, talk to us about your 120 show that you're putting on. So by the way, I think it's absolutely brilliant that all of us guys, like a few people think that because we're in the same industry doing a similar thing, that people are like competing against each other and people have to like say, like a big thing out what me and Shane have done well at growing our businesses is actually we fucking supported each other for as long as we've known each other. And actually I love the stuff he does. He loves the stuff that I do. And we recommend each other. We recommend other people and stuff. And you see so many people within this industry who are like nitpicking at others or slagging people off or whatever. And I just think there's so many people out there to help and that we can all get better. I think there's so many people who are suited to your style of promoting, coaching, your philosophy, people who are more suited to Shane, people who are more suited to mine. I think there's so much pie for everybody to share. And I think the more that we promote each other and help each other get better, the better it is for the whole sport. Because at the end of the day, the three of us, I know I don't know you very well, Dale, but the three of us, we've all got a set of balls and we'll fucking do something. We'll come up with an idea and we'll actually follow it through. And
the most important thing about this sport is, right, for it to grow, is people, regardless of who they are or where they're from, can all take part in it, right? And it's called Strongman and Strongwoman for a reason, because you've got to be strong to do it. And that's one thing I'm very, 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 very thingy about. To be a strong man and a strong woman, you've got to be strong, right? Because that's part of the sport. You can't play football if you're shit at football, for example, or rugby. But what I will say is promoters and people involved within the sport need to stop bringing each other down and work together to help the sport move forward. So why can't you have people who own 5 different gyms all work together to create competitions and create equal opportunities for everyone to progress and make the sport more accessible to people to watch, to compete, and to grow? That's rule number 1. We all need to work together to make the sport better for what it is. Number 2, I also think that by coaches working together, it also opens your mind to new ideas. So, like,
I think that's fucking brilliant.
You might specialise in something I might not know much about. I remember someone the other week messaged me about training in the suit, and I told her to go and speak to you, because I'll be honest with you, I don't have a clue. I just put it on and I put the straps on and I lift the weight. I don't really know about equip lifting because I'm a little bit stupid, if I'm honest with you, that sort of way. But on the other end of the scale, I'm not very good at breaking things down, so I couldn't do a video the way Shane does it on the fucking sandbag or the keg toss or the log, because I'm more, if you come and see me, I will speak to you in person and I can take you through things a lot better than what I can over a video. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas some people are a lot more intellectual. So like you said about everyone's got a different coaching and training style. As for moving this sport forward, what we've seen in like the heavyweight competitions is you've got like different organisations where people get invites to places and where people don't get invites to places and that. And it's a little bit harsh sometimes because like qualifying routes and all that sort of shit, but whatever. But as a lightweight and a middleweight strongman, because it's still relatively quite new and it's starting to build, we can build it in this country from a strong point of view where we've got all the best people involved. It can only go one way, and that's up.
Yeah, that's what I like about. There's a lot of coaches that I really respect. Obviously, you two are 2 of them, but Luke Davies as well, off the top of my head, and there's probably I could probably name fucking loads more. But I like the coaches that don't just. I really think that people think it's a lifestyle kind of job where I just get 10, 15 clients paying me 100 quid. I get a wage and I'm happy. I can train and I get a good lifestyle out of it. And they don't put anything back into the sport. They just are coaching. And I like people that are wanting to run comps and do different things and put like me. The way I help the sport, I think, is I want to put information out there, and I also know that I'm quite good at certain lifts which attract attention. Now, I know that me logging 180 in the gym strict is going to get loads of views and stuff, but I don't care about it from the point of view of me personally. But I like the fact that draws a bit of attention to the lightweight scene. Like, people have messaged me like, oh, I didn't even fucking know you could get that strong at under 90. You know, how do I do? I'm like, well, fucking, look at these comps, look at this, get a coach, go to a gym. It gets people involved. So I look at it like what I want to do for the sport is put out good information and try and attract some new people to it by, the good videos. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but that's Larry Wheels got loads of people into Strongman. And he only did it for he only did fucking 2 comps, you know what I mean? But he attracted loads of attention to it. And you're doing it through the Britain's, the new weight class. I think it's brilliant because there's so many people stuck in that purgatory zone where they're 115 to 125. They're a bit too big for the 105s, but they're a bit too small for the weight class. So you filled this spot that I think really did need to be filled.
When I first mentioned it to people, a few people said, oh, I don't really see the point of it. And I was like, right, listen, I said, I'll take your opinion on board because I appreciate it, because it was certain people I asked and some of my mates, and they even said to me, I'm not interested in it. I was like, that's fine, I don't mind. But I said exactly what you just said there. I thought, right, listen, how many lads that we know that might sit at like 115 or 125 kilo, 130 kilo? There's fucking loads. And like, some people don't want to diet down for the 105s and they don't feel like they're quite big enough to do the opens. Martin C tried to run the 120s a couple of times, but I feel like with the right push over a couple of years, it can start to become like oh, the 120s is on. So this year it was an open invite, basically. So people got in touch with me. And obviously there's certain people who are doing it. Glenn Cutler, Luke Davies, Matthew McKeegan, guys like that are doing it. Paro Dwyer's coming over. Donoghue is coming fucking as a special guest and things like that. So this is the start of it. And then what I want to do is maybe next year, the year after, speak to a couple of guys down south and in the Midlands. They can run a qualifier. I'll run the Northern qualifier. And then we have a championships. And then who knows, we could have an open invitational where we go, right, the European 120 kilo championships. We go, right, a top 5 from Britain's 120s. And I'm going to send out 4 or 5 invitations. And if I've got the fucking funding and all that sort of stuff, I'll pay for your flights over. And then we could have like a European championship and go from there. Why not? The possibilities are endless. But it's all about taking the baby steps first to see how many people join in, how many people do it. I've got the trophies are bang on. There's prize money. It's only 250 quid to start. But I think as a first year for a new weight class, it's not bad. We've only a few sponsors.
I think it's brilliant. And I think a lot of the thing with the prize money as well, like, doesn't like whether you're competing for fucking 50 quid, if I'm competing for a quid, right, I'll like it just fucking sets a fire. Like if I'm betting somebody 10 pence or something, like it just fucking sets me alight. I'm not bothered about whether I'm competing for 10 pence.
I'd be happy with a case of nourishment, mate.
Or 100 quid. I think it's the actual thing of actually having like that kind of extrinsic motivator that, oh, you know what, we're actually competing for a bit of money here. There's a bit of prize money. Like, I don't think it matters how much. I just think it's a massive step forward having something there for them. I think it's brilliant.
Well, I'm going to speak to Mark, see what he says. I get along with Mark very well. And you never know. If I can put it out there that the fucking 120s is a success, then the year after, I'll put it in a bigger venue. You know what I mean? That's not a problem. But I wanted to start off small, keep the cost down to start with, and just see how it goes to start with. You know what I mean? Got some good trophies out there, big axes. I'm getting the medals are made out of all recycled rain cans. I know a guy who runs a recycling company. He's going to make all the medals out of them. Things like that. Do you understand, like little quirky things?
Yeah.
And then I like to think the events are pretty well suited to everyone. They're pretty all well-rounded. There's nothing which is like... I want to see Max Lifton be left now for Max events. Does that make sense? Like a deadlift championships, a log championships. I like that. I think we've seen too much log and deadlifting a full competition now. I think it's been... Past 5 years, it's been a lot of that. Yeah. I want Strongman to get back to Strongman. Do you know what I mean? And like that's what I'm trying to do. But I like to think with my own personality, I can also get people a little bit excited for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, hey, let's get the 120s up and go and come and see the lads compete. It'll be a good laugh. And if I'm there on the microphone and Marcus is there, we'll all have a good laugh and everyone will enjoy it. And that's the whole point for me is about the guys who are competing and the guys who are watching actually physically enjoy the show itself. Because at the end of the day, Strongman is all about a show. We want to see freaky people do freaky shit. And that's what it's all about. Like you just mentioned there, Shane. People who are going to view a video of a 180 log and that from a lightweight. People watch it and go, holy fucking shit. And it also goes for anyone. Like, if you don't know what a Conan's wheel is, and then you see this big Garth start running circles of a Conan's wheel, you go, what the fuck's he doing? That just looks absolutely stupid. I don't know. Next year, I might put me in like a helmet and let them chuck me over a barrier or something, like a midget toss event. Who knows? The possibilities are endless. But yeah, I love it. I think, do you know what it is? This sport thrives off people having passion. And you can't be a good coach, you can't be a good competitor, you can't be a good promoter unless you want what's best for the sport to move forward. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not doing this to make fucking money out of it, even though if I did eventually make some money out of it, that would be great. I could get myself a new fucking quad extension or something from eBay. I don't know, that'd be great. But apart from that, do you know what I mean? It's all about putting back into the sport because it's the only way the sport is going to get going. I think we're lucky. It's starting to move forward from everyone seeing it as a car park sport to maybe seeing it a little bit more now. And who knows, in the next 10 years, we might start getting some... What I'd like to speak to you about eventually, guys, is, you know, like the way they have the Strongman Corporation in America where they've got lightweights who are professionals. Why can't we do that one day and have professional strongmen in the lightweight ranks? And that's not to say that they're a professional sportsman in the sense they're going to get paid fucking 10 grand every month. But if you can be a sportsman and you know you can do an event where you're going to get a pro card from it, how many more people is that going to draw to this community?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a brilliant idea.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Americans have it. I mean, I know it's a bigger country and whatnot, but they have it laid out really nice, and I think it gives you that. Like they have the amateurs and the pros, don't they? And it gives you that sense of achievement when you get your pro card because you've had to earn it. Whereas over here, it's like do a novice comp. Right now, you fucking got to do a qualifier, mate. You don't have to earn your right to get to the qualifier. You know what I mean? Well, I guess people do. There's like an unwritten rule, isn't there, that you kind of do a few novices before you step up. But it would be nice if there was something specific where you had to place, a pro card qualifying comp, top 2 get, the pro card or whatever. You got to earn it, and then you get to move on. I think it would just gives more incentive, and it also opens up more competition to athletes to get them to compete more often, because at the moment, as like an under 90, you're mainly going to go over or qualifier and then hopefully try and go to England. If you don't qualify, then you just kind of pick these odd comps around. Whereas if you had to, if there were certain comps that had pro cards up for grabs, that opens up like 2 or 3 more comps that you can do and try and like build your name and get to these high level comps. So I think that definitely something that I've thought about a lot is how it can grow. Well, not the sport, so to say, but more the lightweight scene. Because I think the lightweight
I
scene,
agree with the lightweight thing. I agree, and the only way the lightweight scene can move forward is the guys who've been competitive and who are around that environment, who know what's going on, with a smart head on the shoulders to make that actually grow and then start putting foundations there and putting the time into it. And like, who knows? Why can't it happen? Because we need to take this sport away from being just a backyard sport into literally where it's got a good base, a good foundation, and it gets a little bit more respect. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when you watch combat sports, there's heavyweight fighters and stuff like that, right? And they are the bee's knees. But the lighter weight guys get just as much respect in them sort of sports as what the heavyweight guys do. So why can't that happen in our sport? There's no reason why it can't.
If I had like 10 million quid, I'd fucking make something. I've said this a loads of times to people. I'd make something like UFC, but for fucking strongman. Because I'm not being funny, but there are a lot of heavyweights, no offense, are boring. That even in combat sports, a lot of heavyweights are boring. You get the odd with a good person like Tyson Fury and stuff like that, but a lot of heavyweights are a bit boring, and they're just exciting to watch because they're knocking cunts out and killing him. And like in strongman, it's exciting because they're just pulling crazy weights. But a lot of lightweights, like McGregor, the biggest fighter in the world pretty much now, but he's 155, 170 pounds. And because he's got a personality on him as well as talent and gift and hard work. There's a lot of lightweights that have got good, like you've got a good personality. You fucking, imagine getting you on fucking Ultimate Strongman interview after an event or something, saying some mad shit.
Yeah, I did Strongman Champions League once, right? He had 4 days notice, right? I remember the guy went, "Oh my God, you've just won that event." I was at Feel. I went, I don't know. I said, I only found out about this 4 days ago. I didn't even train for it. And he went, "Can't say that." And I went, "Well, it's the truth. It's the truth."
Yeah, but that's what I mean. The sport needs, like, I know, and people don't like this about it. People think, oh, it's all about strongman and this and this, and I'm like, it is, but to get people interested, you gotta have like some characters, some bit of personality, a bit of fucking entertainment as well, because that's what sport's all about, really. It's about the people watching it enjoying themselves.
Yeah,
and
we need a Paro Dwyer there for everyone.
What?
We need Paro Dwyer there for everything.
Yeah, Paro Dwyer.
He's a boy, him, like, he's a boy.
And I fucking love them videos he does, you know. You need a hole.
He's fucking mint, man. I tell you, he was like that as well, you know. Luke Stoltman's like that, you know. Oh, God, I swear down, lads. He's a funny guy, him. He's a funny man. Proper funny.
You can tell, though, because he's so...
And that's genuine as well, you know. That's proper genuine, that.
Yeah, but his voice, like, he's got a bit of his voice has a presence in it. Well, when he speaks, like, I feel like I've got to listen. I'm like, fucking hell. Like,
I'd like someone to do a documentary on my life and Luke's the voiceover. You know what I mean? Like a Morgan Freeman, David Attenborough, Luke Stoltman.
Luke seems to have that mold where, like, he's all into his sport. He's fucking completely committed, but then take a step back. Like, he doesn't take himself too seriously on a personal level, does he? Like, and just has a fucking laugh. takes the piss, like us three, really. Like that's what like when you're doing your thing, like you're completely focused, but
he's still got that good Scottish banter, hasn't he? So
we just
Tom's like that, you know. Tom's got cheeky banter, cheeky crack. Like he won't say nothing for about an hour, and he'll just come out with something. Like I was sat there on a stool, and Lee was taking the piss out of me because I'm fat, and then Tom just popped his head around the corner and just went, I can see your love handles popping out from the side. And I was like, oh, nice one, mate. And everyone just started laughing at me. Just this little fucking pouch hanging over my shorts. little chub rub and all that. But yeah, I agree with that. Personality is very important. And like, do you know what it is? You've got to draw people in who necessarily aren't doing the sport at elite level, but they love it and they enjoy it. So like the people who buy, I'll give you an example, the people who go on the Silverback website and buy the Luke Richardson T-shirt with his name signed in that. Those are the people who make this sport, and those are the fans of the sport who buy the tickets to go to shows. They're the ones who go on people's Instagrams. They're the ones who share the videos. The guys and ladies who are really, really invested in the sport, the people who follow it, you know what I mean? They're the guys you need to draw in. It's not necessarily the people who compete, it's the people outside of it who watch it. They're the people who need to be drawn in. They need to be drawn into it by a personality.
Yeah, and as well, I just think that if the lightweights got exposed to those people, you'd get fans. You know what I mean? Like, why don't good lightweight strongmen have fucking fans? You know what I mean? They've just got other lightweights that follow them. You know what I mean? And they have some people that are fans of the lightweight scene. But whenever I've watched fucking hundreds of strongman comps over the years, and I've always enjoyed myself at the under 90s the most, and also the under 63 women's have been always.
Oh, mate, the women's category's dynamite, by the way. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, every time I've watched the under 63 comp, I love watching Rhiannon. She's a savage. I love watching Chloe Brennan, and who else is there that's really fucking good? There's loads of under 63 girls. Shannon, Clifford. They just push themselves to the absolute brink, and the mindset when they're lifting is a different level in the female category. I think they just can take their body like, I don't know, they just seem to go further. I don't know what it is. And the under 90 men as well, I think it's like everyone's a little man with a chip on the shoulder. I fucking love it. And they just, everyone's mad and batty. Like Josh.
I was trying to get Amf to put in a wrestling one on that. He wouldn't let me do it. I wanted to do a wrestling event.
What, like a fucking Kazmaier one?
Yeah, I really wanted to do it. I wanted me versus Jake Allen to see who wins. As long as his brother didn't beat me up afterwards, I was happy with it.
You'd be all right. You'd be all right at that with all your grappling you used to do.
Yeah, Jake is a fucking wrestling, but we weren't allowed any clothes. That's why we weren't allowed it. Just fucking pants off. But his dad had ended up joining in.
Do you still grapple or not? Do you still do MMA and stuff?
No, I've always said this. I aim to compete in strongman for the next 6 years until I'm about 35, and then I want to go and get my BJJ black belt. That's something I want to chase. I'm a blue belt at the moment, but I haven't grappled in about 3 years now. But something I'm definitely going to go back to and take on 100%. The fighting side of it, the Muay Thai and kickboxing and all that, I'll be absolutely honest with you, because I ain't done it from a young age. I used to rely on my athletic ability and my strength. So stand up, I was never absolutely unbelievable. As a grappling side of it, I really enjoyed it. So that's something I'm definitely going to go back to.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't know if you kept it up on the side or anything, because I know it's. I
ended up snapping it in half, mate. I ended up having a bicep hanging off my fucking shoulder or something. I'm too. Right. The thing is with me, I'm too all one thing. I've got to be really on it. Like I can't do 2 or 3 things. I've got to be switched on with one thing. You know what I mean? That's something which just like I am as a person. That I'm all or nothing. If I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling.
So obviously,
like Josh with his belt cleans, it's all or nothing, and it's take on the chin.
Right, moving on. So,
let's move on, guys.
So obviously we've talked about the under 80s Britain's Strongest Man on here and promoted it with the details and stuff. So can you just give us some details of the like the dates of the 120? So hopefully some of the guys listening can.
7th of August at 3D Strength, Darlington, County Durham. It's going to be a pretty cool competition. I think we've got 23 lads in it so far.
Brilliant.
I always give or take 10 people for pulling out last minute, which always fucking happens in every single strongman comp. You always do. But as long as we've got a good solid 15 people, which I believe we're going to have, it's going to be a really good show. With me, my shows are generally quite fast paced. But to be fair, if you've got 20 lads doing it, they'll probably take about an hour each event pretty much. But I like it to be fast paced. I like everyone to have a fun time. I've got a lad called Ben Joyce. I don't know if you guys know me. He's coming down doing the scoring and things like that. So, so all the scoring is going to be done perfectly. I've got experienced referees with myself. Marcus is going to be helping out. Ben Williams is going to be helping out. So I'll do a good rules briefing, that sort of stuff. And do you know what? I'm just really looking forward to seeing the guys get at it in this new weight category. I've got some little ideas for the outfits everyone's going to wear. Do you know what I mean? Where you're from, you're going to get a different colour top and all that sort of stuff. You're going to see a big announcement of a competition coming at the end of the year soon as well. I can't really share it yet, but it will be out in a few days. It's for Aaron Page. So
brilliant.
That's another thing which which keep your eyes peeled out for that one, lads. That's going to be absolutely fucking brilliant. That's why I've been trying to find those fucking anarchy strength farmers for ages, and we finally got hold of them. I don't know if you've ever used the anarchy strength farmers.
Yeah.
How bad are they?
The worst farmers in history.
Yes. And I found them. They were in Gloucestershire.
They used to be in like I've used them a couple of times. They used to just get used all the time. I don't know why.
Yeah, they've been all over the place, and trying to track them down was fucking solid. But there's guys. I've got in touch with a guy who sold them to another guy. So we've got all of them now. We've got some really good things coming up with that. So
I remember that on Sugden Barbell, people would be like, right, the farmers say 110, but make sure you're training around 140 because
make sure you put some shin guards on outside your shins, no matter what happens, because they're absolutely
legs to pieces.
Yeah, they're basically like the rogue farmers from Worlds, but square and on roids.
Yeah, because weren't they from? Didn't Tom Hibbert have them for a while?
Maybe, mate. They've been everywhere. They've been absolutely everywhere.
I remember them being.
They are the official strongman slags of farmers. proper. They're absolutely been everywhere.
What they use for the dinnies, they use like drain pipe on the legs, like a bit of drain pipe, and then velcroed round. We could use that for so it'd skim off rather than.
Yeah, mate. The brutal like. It's like taking a leg kick off a tie. You're not going to fucking feel very well the next day then. But yeah,
we used to have like bruised IT bands and calves and shit from.
Absolutely shocking. They just knock you a bit. But no, it's a good bit of kit. So we've got a good announcement coming up with that very soon, which should be absolutely fantastic for the whole British strongman scene, that sort of thing, which is going to be absolutely spot on.
Was that really by Strength?
Yeah, mate. It was like the original. Him and Loz were like the original.
I was picturing it then. I was thinking.
Yeah, he was one of the original. Him and Loz were the original, like Mr. Anarchy Strength. You know what I mean? So yeah, trying to make it quite a quite personal, like a personal little touch, and getting on with Aaron and that was like a massive thing. Why I've sort of switched my training around into going for that 105 log record for him, because he basically, obviously, coaching Aaron and that sort of stuff, and the type of person he is, he was a fucking nutcase. And he always used to, what did he used to call me? A weak little piece of shit, I think he used to call me. There's always something along those sort of lines. And he used to always tell me some numbers he wanted me to get in it. So the log's been pushing for him, really, if I'm honest with you, more than anything. It's just sort of like a little trigger. So it's something I want to make him proud of, because he was a massive ambassador for British strongman in this country, I do believe. And there you go. There's a guy who had personality. So I want to pass that on for him.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely class. I've knew him such a long time, and I think his progress on log and his leg, I always look at him as I always think he's got the best leg drive I've ever seen on a log press. Like, unbelievable.
It is clean, mate. It was just him, Luke, and Hicksy have got the most mad log cleans known to man. It's fucking insane. Like, do you remember Luke at that feat of strength? Did he clean the 230 log 5 times or something? It was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Luke's cleans. It's so far away from what he can do. It looks like it's mad. It looks like he could clean 260 or something when he cleans.
Yeah, he does. Talking of that, have you seen that Lasher, the weightlifting dude? Have you seen him at the moment? The form he's on.
Yeah, he's 255 clean and jerk the other day, didn't he?
did you see his 215 snatch in the training hall? Like, it was literally like 60 kilo bar.
Yeah, he's fucking. I'd love to see someone like him get on a log. You know, I'm always interested.
Me too. Something I've always been interested in that. Like, so you think of Mikhail Kuklayev? Was Misha's best log 210 or 215? 210, wasn't it?
It was just over 200, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was about that. I think he's got the Russian log record about 210, but don't quote me on that one. Don't quote me on that one. I might be wrong. But he was an elite level weightlifter, and then you've got a guy there who's even better. What the fuck could he actually do as like a log lift specialist?
Yeah, because I think he's got a 250 clean and jerk. So he's down about 35 kilo-ish, maybe a bit more, maybe 40 kilo down. So, but he was split jerking the log as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So, yeah, it always interests me because I like to believe that elite strongmanist in me would like to believe that 230 Big Z, he's got 228 or whatever he's got. I would like to think that a weightlifter couldn't just transition over and take it. I would like to think they would have to dedicate a long time to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I will still say to this day, the greatest overhead lift ever. And it's not Eddie Hall's strict press, even though that was absolutely fucking foul on the axle. That was mental. Is the Jonas Savickas 4 reps on the Austrian Oak 205 kilo clean and press is the most impressive overhead feat ever. I think that is savage. What do you think about the shit Iron Bibby's doing though at the moment? His 260 standing strict press.
Let's see that in competition. That's what I want to see. That.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to say as well because I never know because he's a.
That's a prime example, by the way. He can't fucking clean it, so what's the point? Like, that's where he gets let down, isn't it?
The likes of Hicksy and Luke and Z and all them have been there and done it in competition and on stage and fucking with the big lads and competed at Worlds and blah 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 blah. That's my only thing with IMBB is like it's all right when you're surrounded with your crew and all that sort of stuff. When you put on that stage, he got 220 once, didn't he? Was that right? The World Log Championship.
Yeah, I think he failed the record. After
yeah. So that's just pure conditioning. It looked like, but to me, if he's hitting those, if he's doing a strict press of 260 kilo and he can transfer that over the log, what's saying that guy can't do a 240 log then?
Yeah, no, that's because I'm interested to see him, but
what
he doesn't compete, does he? I don't know why he doesn't compete. I've heard loads of mixed stories about visa issues and all this stuff, but maybe it's the fact maybe he wants to compete and he just can't, and it's it's not his fault, but it does seem that he's a bit of a gym lifter, doesn't it?
He's a monster though. Do you know what? Someone like him, I'd love to see him just go and smash it as well because like. It creates this whole like Jesus Christ, who's this big freak? Because I think as an all-round strong man, don't make it sound like a douchebag. I mean, like he's all okay. He's an okay strong man.
He ain't going to win worlds, is he?
He's an okay strong man, but as a freaky overhead specialist, he's clearly fucking good. He's absolutely unbelievable. But I've got this really funny feeling in my head. It's going to be between Hicksy and Luke Stoltman still. For some reason, I'd love to see them peak both at the same time and really go head to head and see what happens. Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah, I'm hoping Hicksy's bicep comes back properly because I know he's been struggling a little bit with the log since that tear. So fingers crossed he can get back to best because I think he's definitely got he's one of the humans that has the potential to do the record.
Oh mate, look at him in his powerlifting debut though. Hicksy, statically strong, is in my opinion the strongest strong man there is all round. Static strength.
Because his dead and his log and his squat
his bench press, the fucking lot. Yeah. But how then, lads? We'll say this. I know we've battered on a little bit, right? If you could have a strongman powerlifting meet, what 5 strongmen would you put there?
What strongmen to do a powerlifting meet?
Yeah, if we had to pick 5 strongmen now to do a powerlifting meet, and they're all fit.
Hicksy would have to be number 1.
Yeah, I'd love to see Big Z and Eddie Hall as well. Like Eddie, like Prime Eddie. I would have loved to have known what he could have done in powerlifting.
Agree. That would have been sick.
Because he was else, wasn't he, at that time? It was something, but then there's always them unanswered questions like, what can he pull without straps and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to know.
What about JF Caron?
Yeah,
and I'd be interested just to see how much of a difference it would be. I would love to see Novikov, because I don't think he would do amazingly well, but I think it would prove that you don't need to be good at powerlifting to be good at strongman, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's some really, because like a lot of people don't give him enough credit, but I always batter on about him. It's fucking Mark Henry, because that guy was an absolute freak.
Oh yeah,
Freak.
Remember when he did the Apollons the first time?
Oh my God, man! What a fucking phenomenal all round. And you've got to think that guy was Olympic weightlifter. He was a world record holder powerlifter at the time. He won the Arnold Classic and all that sort of stuff. And he's a guy who's a fucking animal, pure animal.
And you know what? I've been told by a lot of people that I've been lucky enough to know a few good Americans that like know of him from gyms and stuff. And a lot of people swear that he's 100% natural. And I kind of believe it, because if you just look at his consistency through the years of his strength, even when he was doing like wrestling, he's still a fucking animal. You know what I mean? There was no peaks and troughs or anything for like decades.
Is this American TRT strength though?
It could be American TRT strength. Yeah, you're right.
Do you know what I mean? You know the old American, my doctor give me its strength.
It could be doctor given strength. Yeah.
Because Ronnie Coleman always said he had like 4 months off, and I don't believe that ever in a million years.
Well, Ronnie Coleman on Joe Rogan podcast just used to get D-ball and shit off his doctor, didn't he?
Yeah. It fucking, some of them took fucking the Americans. What was it? CT Fletcher, and that was the same, wasn't it? Oh, the doctor, Joe Rogan said something, he went, yeah, Decker, and he went, what, so you took it? He went, my doctor give me it. And you're like, I got you.
Medication, mate.
They're raged, aren't they? They're absolutely raged. Absolutely.
You seen that, what's he called on YouTube? That, he's a big fucking YouTuber. Oh, I can't remember his fucking name, but he owns that Zoo Culture gym, if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
And he's actually opened, behind Zoo Culture, he's opened a fucking TRT clinic. So he fucking, apparently what happens is the athletes that go there, he makes them, you take something to drop your test, and then he'll blood test you and be like, oh, you need fucking TRT, mate. And then pop you on a prescription test, because obviously they've got to get around it in America because it's illegal as fucking it. So it's a bit different to over here, where you can just fucking ring up fucking Barry and ask him to drop your vial off.
Yeah, it's like weight cutting and the UV drips and that. Fuck me, in America and that, it's massive, that sort of stuff, lads. I've never done any drips and that after weight cuts and that, because I've never needed to. But like, I've seen some of the 105s and that, and you see them the next day.
You said Andrew Clayton?
Yeah.
He dropped from about 125, didn't he, to 105?
And you're like, and you see them the next day after 24 weight, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
When he won 105 Worlds, he documented his weight cut on his story. It was fucking really interesting, actually. And he was just dropping, and then he was like a video of him on IV, and then he was like, right, I'm back at 115 now, like fucking 3 hours later or something. And then the next day he was like 120. And then I think it was like a 2-day comp. So by the second day, he was back to like 125. Bigger than some of the fucking open lads. It was
mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely mental. We can talk about this sort of stuff for hours, because like I've got big views on this sort of stuff, where like I always think like you might not agree with me, but I always think as a lightweight competitor, you should be doing your world records and records at that weight. But that's just me. That's just my personal opinion. That's not me taking anything away from anyone else. I always think records should be set. If you say you're under 90, that record should be set on the day that you weighed in. But that's just what I think personally.
Or weigh in after the lift.
Yeah, weighing after the lift, that'd be fine by me.
Be a simple...
Yeah, I mean, I look at it 2 ways, which is, I think that like, if you did it, as long as it was set in stone and it was always the fucking same,
yeah,
I don't think it would make much difference, to be honest. I think the same people would still hold the records, but I do think they'd lift a little less. because you'd have to be even lighter, really, wouldn't you? Like for me, when I compete at 90, I walk around at 95, and I'll cut to 90 and I'll be 95 on the day. Whereas if I had to walk around at 90, weigh in at 90 after the lift, I'd probably drop my strength a little bit with the weight loss. So I think as long as but the only problem with the day before weigh-ins is there's so much room for manipulation where people can be like 100 kilo when they're doing a 90 record or something.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I always understand the half a kilo to a kilo. If you've ever done a Bob Daglish qualifier, you know, his scales vary between 3 and 4 kilo.
Bob said to me once, he was like, well, there's a 9 in it, so it's
what is it?
Bob, fucking hell.
Bob, I feel a little bit overweight. Don't worry about it, it'll be all right. I'm like, fucking hell, will it?
Yeah, I got on the scale. I got on the scale fully clothed. I knew I was 89, but I got on the scale fully clothed, and I had a fucking bag on my shoulder, and I was like 94. And he went, well, there's a 9, and then ticked me off. I was like, Bob. I said, Bob, I fucking cut weight here. I said, I'm weighing in properly. I said, I'm fucking dying. I said, I need to prove I've made weight. So, and General was next to me kicking off. He's not fucking weighing in at 94. I said, I'm not 94. I said, I got a bag on my shoulder. I was like, so I weighed in at 89. But he was trying to I made weight every year for like 4 years. So I think he was just like, he's got a bag on his shoulder. I'm sure he's under 90. But
99.9. Oh, that's a 0 next to that. I think it says, yeah, it does. I haven't got my glasses, but it does.
Right, lads, I'm gonna have to wrap it up there because we'll be fucking on all afternoon. And but just want to say thank you, and for everybody listening. If you already don't listen to Dale's stuff on his Instagram, like his interviews, what do you call it, strength chat, or what do you call it? What do you call it where you do your interviews? I'll listen to him.
Sorry, mate, talking to me. Talking strength. So yeah, it's brilliant because like strength talk.
So we look at if I analyze the amount of listeners on our podcast, the ones where we have guests are like where it spikes up. People get drawn in by the guests. So the great thing about Dale's Strength Chat is he's always got brilliant guests on. So just go onto his Instagram, have a look, and there's loads of interesting stuff on there. I think
talking to Ollie Thompson tomorrow about MMA and Strongman, the transfer over, and he's going to talk about some of the old school Strongman competitions you went to. Where I'll give you a quick one. Sorry, where he basically was competing against Mikhail Kuklayev, and the day beforehand he just took him to a gym and just proved to him that he could overhead squat 180 kilo raw, just for a bit of banter.
I follow Ollie Thompson. I followed it because I'm a big MMA fan. Me, I fucking loved it for like years. I followed his transition over to MMA.
So yeah, I've got him on in the morning. So he's good crack as well. He's a funny lad.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know you knew Ollie. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, he's bang on. He's funny. He's going to talk to me about. He used to always call us the Northeast Mafia with Eddie Elwood and Darren Sadler and all them. He's going to talk about all that sort of stuff.
Right, nice.
I listened to that. I like that. I didn't know that's cool. Yeah, I follow Ollie Thompson. Bit of a fanboy actually. I think I'm a fanboy now.
Good crack he is.
So Dale, if there's, I've said to you, if there's anything that you'd like to use, like any kit or any equipment that I've got that you want to use for any of your comps going forward at any point, like you can.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Right. Cheers, lads.
I'll speak to you later.
See you, boys.